Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Good morning. Well, a happy Football Friday. That's right. Today's the day we turn the page. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. Welcome, as we are brought to you by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Get all your scripts, flu shot, you need that, get that done, and all your last-minute goods at your local Rite Aid, riteaid.com. Well, today is the day we turn the page on a Football Friday, so apropos. Eagles back after the bye week, after the entire dead October. Red October, a quick extinguisher leads us to what? What are we looking? Back to football, right? Back to the Eagles. The Eagles play the hapless Browns and Deshaun Watson. They got a very good schedule coming up, right? You got the Browns, you have the Giants, the Bengals who are languishing, the Jaguars who are languishing. It all sets up before the Cowboy game where they can get a run, where they can start to stack a couple of wins and start to feel good about themselves. It's about turning the page to tonight, where the Flyers begin their season. And there's hope, right? There's hope with the Flyers. We have a wonderkin. We have someone to follow. Finally, the Flyers, after all these years, you can give me Giroux a little bit, and certainly Lindros was the last blue chipper, the last phenom that we kind of waited for. And tonight, the debut of Matvei Michkov. Flyers and Vancouver. 10:30 tonight. The Flyers open the season, and it's like, wow, all right, let's do it. We got little Flyers hockey. Tonight's also preseason basketball. The Sixers' first preseason game against the Timberwolves. Now, there's no Joe as he gets his knee examined. I think it's more precautionary than anything else. But that's already on the docket, right? We turned the page from the Phillies to those other three teams, and this is kind of who we are, right? I know I referenced this the other day. There's a meme of the skeletons of death, and they're wearing the four hats of the four teams. And it's like this circle, all right, from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And that is our path. That's what we do. We go from team to team to team to team. Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Eagles. It's how we do it. We've always done it this way. And you know what? It's a good thing, right? It's who we are. Sports is our fuel to get through the mundanity of life, right? We need sports. We cherish these moments, and we should cherish these moments. And we should always believe. We should enter each season with a degree of hope. We should enter the post-bye week thinking, hey, maybe the Eagles, all healthy with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Lane Johnson back at right tackle, maybe the Phillies could go. Maybe the Eagles could go on a run. Maybe they can. Maybe Jalen Hurts gets it together, and all of a sudden this offense is the unstoppable force that we expected it to be. Maybe Michkov is just worth watching every night, that he is the next one, that he's the guy that you watch and he just exalts because he's incredible creative and he's offense and he's something we haven't had. Maybe that works. Maybe the Sixers with Paul George, they do go on a run. That's what we should be doing. That's how we should approach this whole thing. We're all about the communal effect of what sports is. This is our lifeblood in Philadelphia. This is what we do. You don't want to change that. And yeah, in spring training, we'll be back in Clearwater and, there's renewed hope. Right now, we're dashed and we're down and we feel, bad again. And it's like, oh, this is it. This is who Philadelphia is, right? Another scar. You know who we are? There was an old goalie for the Boston Bruins by the name of Jerry Cheevers. And he used to wear a mask. And the goalie mask, there it is, you'll see it on your screen. The goalie mask was emblazoned by scars. And those scars were every time a puck hit him in the face, he put a stitching in it. And that's who we are as Philadelphia sports fans. Each of those scars represents a Phillies loss to the Mets in the NLDS, an Eagles loss in the playoffs to Tampa, right? Like all those losses, they're just scars. But you know what? Scars can be a badge of honor because you've lived life and you've conquered it. See, I'm a believer in that you go in, if you're going to do something, you got to go all in. And that's what I love about how we approach sports in Philadelphia. We talk about the passion all the time. And that passion needs to stay where it is. That passion, whether it's, the underdogs or the hungry dogs who run faster, like Jason Kelce said. This is what we do. This is how we embrace it. And we should never change. And, let's see in the offseason the Phillies can make some tweaks to the lineup and get it right. They're not going anywhere. They're still going to be a good team. They still bring back a good rotation, and they still have good players. There's still Bryce Harper, right? Today's you turn the page, man. This is what we do. And if not doing it for us, adults, then do it for the kids. Listen to this. This is from Jay Black. He put this out there of this little girl. I want you to watch this.
Penny, why are you upset though?
I did. I want them not to win.
Me too.
And I wanted to go to the parade.
I know. I don't know if the Flyers might win, honey.
They won't.
I know Team Rough didn't win.
Not Phillies.
I know the Phillies didn't win. This is what a Philadelphia sports fan feels like.
They're not good.
Penny, why are you upset though?
I did.
I want to hug that child, right? It's the great indoctrination into Philadelphia sports. I got two boys myself, right? They're indoctrinated through this whole thing. This is who we are. This is part of our great community. It's a beautiful thing, even in defeat. Good morning, VG Violations, Greg. I'm so glad you found that clip from Jay Black. It fit perfectly with my opening column. It's exactly what I wanted to share today because I see you're wearing the Eagles sweatshirt, the Flyers hat.
Hope springs eternal.
Right. It's turning the page, man. This is what we do. Like, it's not a mock. That should not be a mock where people go, oh, here we go. We're on the hamster wheel of hell.
That's
right.
what it feels like sometimes. I mean, you're saying that girl, she's indoctrinated. It's like she's indoctrinated to disappointment and misery, and we're happy because misery loves company.
See, I don't look at it like that. I know I hear it like that is the obvious, right? Like, but sports, I've always said this, that sports chooses us, right? Like it chooses you by where you grow up, what region you're from. I mean, it's all part of having the pride of your environs, right? Like that's what it's about, man. And so Philadelphia sports chose you. It chose me because we're of this soil. We grew up here.
This is where we popped out at.
And this is it. I mean, it was just bad luck, dumb luck. I think it's good luck because
combination of both.
It's utterly rewarding. And I say this all the time, and people scoff, and I don't blame them. But I say you must bleed to know bliss, Like, to truly know a blissful state, you got to bleed. You got to trudge through the muck.
What about the youngs? What if you're 20 years old, 22 in Boston? You don't think they have bliss? They haven't bled.
Yeah, but their degree of bliss is not what we felt in 2018.
I'd be okay with that, that bliss. You know, I'd be all right.
Well, you don't know any better. See,
Yeah.
like in Boston, they go, hey, we're great. We want, right? But they don't know the heartache, like to get to that moment, to finally reach the pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlike anything other. It's like, you know, it's funny. There can only be one first. And the Eagles, and it's great. I hope it happens, right? Where they run off a string of Super Bowls, and it'll be great. But nothing will ever come close to that moment when they won their first Super Bowl.
No, I was just going to bring that up too. I will never shed it. I don't think I'll shed a tear at another Super Bowl. That one, getting over that hump, was just a huge moment in my life I'll never forget.
Yeah, and for those people who are younger, like, you know, JP's producing today, and, you know, like JP's never saw Flyers. He's a big Flyers fan. He's got his Flyers hat. He's never saw a Flyers Stanley Cup. We were very little.
We saw them, but
you know, we were, you know, you couldn't comprehend it, right? But I just remember people being excited, and Broad Street being packed. And
I think our memories are more from replays we've seen of it than actually living it back then.
No, it would certainly. That's without a doubt.
I remember pots and pans and
pots and pans. That's exactly right. But you know, his first Stanley Cup will be a special one for you know, his first Sixers title, if that ever happens. That will be a special one, right? Because that will be the first one that he'll have lived through after all the pain of the process, right? Like all that stuff. But the hamster wheel of hell, I love because we're in it.
I love it.
We're in it together, right? Like we have these moments. In fact, there's Kelly Body, who's the CEO of TrueMark Financial Credit Union, one of our great sponsors. She's an enormous Philadelphia sports fan. You know, her family, the whole thing, and she's like all in. And we were talking about beloved teams. She's like, you know, I love this team, you know, but can you be beloved and go out, right? And we started getting this conversation about beloved versus great and the whole thing of these teams. And while we all want a parade, what we want the most is a journey, right? Like if the Phillies lost in the World Series, we would be devastated. Yeah. But if something happened and I don't know, let's say the Yankees beat them, and you know we would be like, it would be hard. But we would have a journey of October.
Yeah, we got to the end of the ride. It wasn't a great ride. This one is like the ride like broke down halfway through. We were like on a roller coaster. We get out of the gate and it's like, the ride shut down.
That's what makes this one so disappointing. Yeah. Because it ended so abruptly, right? Yeah. And prematurely. And it was the stinking Mets. Yes. Right? It was a team that we hate. But the fact is, man, I wanted the journey. I wanted to go through the Padres or the Dodgers. I wanted to see that.
I'm glad you bring this up because I got in a rabbit hole of expectation, and I have all this hope now for the Flyers and the Eagles and the Sixers. And, you know, hope is a grounds for believing something good may happen. Fine. I'm good. Expectation is strong belief something will happen. That's with the Phillies. Yes. We just believed and had this expectation. And there's a whole new research coming out of the College of London on Psychology Today that indicates low expectations are the secret to happiness.
No!
Because happiness depends not on how well things are going, but whether things are going better or worse than expected. And if you have low expectations, every little success is a surprise and a delight, they say. They hooked up people. They put people in MRI machines and saw their brains going off. And low expectation people are way happier.
I know people say it all the time. Hey, don't expect it, right? Don't get your hopes up.
We expect nothing from the Flyers, and that's why that little girl's going to be so happy because the mom says she said the Flyers won't win. She's already locked in. She's going to have a great Flyer season. She was expecting a parade. That little girl, she wanted to go to the parade. High expectations. Yeah, tremendous disappointment.
Except here's my retort, and look, who am I to argue with the College of London? But my retort is, you got to live life. And if you quell your expectations, you're not living life. You're guarding your heart. You're putting a padlock on it. And that's not living life.
You think?
Yeah, I do think.
Putting low expectations, putting a padlock on your heart.
Yes.
Oh, wow, I'm going into this Flyer season with no expectations, and I think I'm going to have a blast. I think it's going to be a great time.
Well, I
think I'm going to live it.
But I don't have any expectations for the Flyers either. And you shouldn't. The Flyers aren't ready to compete for anything. What the Flyers have, what they didn't have, is someone to watch and grow. They have a teenager. He's a teenager.
2 teenagers.
Right, yes. Yeah. And Luchenko.
Yeah.
The Jet. They have a teenager, but the main teenager is Michkov. And there's no expectations for him. There's no expectations for this team.
There's not, I bet, Rookie of the Year. No expectations.
But the expectations for this team is just grow, right? Like, it's the process years all over again. It's, hey, just pray Michkov isn't Simmons, right? Pray Michkov is Embiid. Healthy.
Pray he's a healthy Lindros.
Right.
I'd be good with that.
That's where we're at. As far as the team itself, there's no expectation because right now they're not. You shouldn't have any expectations. They're still in their growth, so that's easy to have to go in. They're fun, like it's a ride. It's a different ride than say the Eagles, right? The Eagles, we go in with, hey man, you got to be a Super Bowl contender. I didn't think that they were the best team in the NFC. I thought that the Lions were, right? You had the Niners, and you saw them last night. So there's other teams that I thought were better, but easily they should be in the top, 4 of the conference, top 5 of the conference, which means that they should have a run. So my expectations for the Eagles are, hey, let's make a run. And then if it's the NFC Championship game at Ford Field in Detroit, then let's go. Like, maybe there's the underdog. The hungry dogs run faster, right? Like, that's what that is.
My dog's hungry. He's just lazy and lays around and looks mopey.
Yeah, I think Jake Kelsey's dog is different.
See, I think going in, I have hope for the Eagles. Jalen's had some great moments this week with Nick. People are healthy. I hope they go on a run, and I hope they get to the playoffs.
Well,
if I expect it, who knows? I'm setting myself up for heartache.
Yeah, but see, I think you should expect them to go to the playoffs. If they don't go to the playoffs, then
we should have the College of London measure our happiness throughout this season.
You're
with
not
me
with
low expectations and you with higher expectations.
I think it's unfair to you as a knowledgeable Eagles fan not to have expectations of the playoffs. I'm not saying you should go, hey, they should win the Super Bowl. I'm saying you got to make the playoffs. And I think that's the bare minimum. And if you don't make the playoffs, then heads got to roll.
See, I say coming off of last year, coming off what we've seen so far this year, coming off Nick being shaky, man, I hope they make the playoffs. But I don't know if I expect it. But when you
judge them in their realm, right, I think it's only right to judge them as the playoff team. Anything short of that is a disaster. Right or wrong?
No, it'll be a disaster. But I think I will be less emotionally affected by the disaster with low expectations.
That's a bunch of nonsense.
I've been hurt too much. I need to protect myself.
Padlock on the heart.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Lock it down.
Yeah, but you know what? You say armor. That. Those are just empty words.
I need a Kevlar vest around my heart.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll talk to Agent Gallo for you. You got this whole attitude, right? Which I find amusing because it's just not true. If the Eagles don't make the playoffs, you're going to be walking around here at PHLY, like you were yesterday with the Phillies, where your head was down, your goatee was scraping the floor. Like that's what you will be. You could say all you want, you have no expectations, but that's nonsense. You're just tricking yourself.
Yeah, but now I'm a learned man. After reading this article, I got to protect myself.
Yeah.
I had too high expectations. I fell too hard. I crashed.
Why even kid yourself? You're playing games with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, life is a game, right?
Yeah, but you're
I
playing.
got to do what I got to do for my
You're
emotional
trying to do
well-being.
mind tricks. The mind tricks don't work. You got to trust me on
As
that,
the
man.
Wu-Tang said, protect your neck, I protect my heart.
Like Jules is laughing, right? Jules is our head of production. Julia Hoff, she's the best, and she's got the Phillies flip-flops all the time.
All the time.
I think she retired them though after the season. She had to retire them.
Yeah, it's a sad
But she'll
day.
be back. Like, listen, that was a tough one, man. I felt wounded, but like I know Jules, she'll be back. We'll be talking off season. And, can they fix the lineup and who they got in the outfield? And
How much
all
we paying
right,
Soto?
Right, let's go. Right, let's run it back.
Yeah,
Let's go. Here we go. They're not foolish. Dombrowski's a smart guy. Like he knows that he can't just go, hey, let's run this whole group back. Like you got to make some changes.
Mm-hmm.
He will, and then we'll be, ready to go, pitchers and catchers. Like that's part
We'll be
of
seeing
that.
them load the trailer with equipment. We'll be, here it comes.
There's the fanatic,
Yeah.
right, with a bunch of bats and baseballs. Like there it is. But that is the hamster wheel of hell, right? Like,
Yeah.
and for
We're
us,
addicted to it.
I think it's beautiful because I love how we approach it.
You find beauty in pain.
I don't know. I mean, you want to get
Heartache.
weird on me, man. I guess.
Heartache,
I mean,
disappointment.
I find beauty in the journey and how we as Philadelphians.
I know, but how many times we take the journey if it ends up at some podunk disappointing spot? We keep doing
That's
it.
why you have the next stop.
Yeah.
Next stop, Eagles.
Here we go. Take my money.
Next stop,
Yeah.
Flyers.
Yeah.
Next stop, Sixers.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Fasten up. Fasten your seatbelts, baby. The hamster wheel of hell. There was a ride in Wildwood years ago called the Hell Hole. And the Hell Hole was a ride. And it used centrifugal force,
Oh, yeah.
right? 'Cause the floor dropped.
Yes.
And like it spun around and it kept you next.
It used
like,
to come
stuck
to
the
local
wall.
neighborhood carnivals, Juniata Park Carnival. They called it the Gravitron.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Wildwood on the
called that.
boardwalk was
Oh.
the Hell Hole.
Just puke flying
Yeah.
through and spinning.
Welcome to the Hell Hole. All right. That's what it is. That's great. All right. We got lots to do today. We will talk to Fran Duffy, our resident Leatherhead film guy, talk about the Browns. The Brain will join us. We got our docs from Rothman. We got Charlie O to talk the Flyers. We got Baldy, who I missed
Baldy.
just in a big way. And, of course, TV Todd. And it's Halloween month with TV
Yeah.
Todd. Today's Vampire Day.
All right.
I'm a big fan of vampires.
Yeah, I like some good vampire movies.
Yeah. So we'll discuss that. But first, let's talk about Rothman. Yes, joints aching, hands cramping, back out of whack. Rothman's got you. At Rothman Orthopaedics, practicing specialized care has been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission, high quality, compassionate, affordable care rooted in research. Yep, research leading to new treatments, better outcomes. Each Rothman doctor is laser focused on their specialty. So hip, knee, spine, you name it. They have a team for each body part right in your backyard. So you can cross over to defense, drain those jumpers, root for our teams like no other fans in the country. That's who we are. They are Rothman Orthopaedics, and they specialize in you. All right, now listen. You got anything going on? Visit RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY to learn more and to make an appointment today. Rothman fixed my Achilles without surgery using nitroglycerin packs that stimulated blood flow in my Achilles tendon. So make sure you check them out. They are amazing doing God's work. Visit RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY to learn more and to make an appointment today. All right, speaking of seasons, and we go around and around and around, this is engagement season. We reached engagement season. The fall foliage, Halloween's coming up. There's these moments where you want to get engaged, where it's romantic. right? Like there's a romantic time, and this is engagement season. So you met that beautiful person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Well, here you go. You got, I don't know, what are we talking about? Halloween coming up. You take a ride and see the leaves. You got Thanksgiving where everybody's home and you can do it in front of the family or do it, that weekend, which is a great weekend. And then, of course, you got the holidays, right? You get Christmas Eve is always awesome, right? You got everything at family, the whole thing. You got New Year's. That's a great one. All the way to Valentine's Day, which is like the Super Bowl of engagement season. So check it out. Golden Nugget Jewelers. I've known them forever. It's your own, and Golden Nugget Jewelers is the place where Philly gets engaged. I've sent countless people over there to get their rings, to get married and live happy lives, happy ever after. 8th and Chestnut, right in the heart of Jewelers Row in Center City, family owned, operated since 1987. And that's my man, Yaron. He's amazing, right? So you're getting engaged. You have a wide assortment of rings and wedding bands to fit anyone's style. You're going to get a final cleaning, written appraisal with every engagement ring. Purchase. Not just wedding jewelry, also, not just wedding stuff. You can find watches, diamond necklaces, diamond bracelets, earrings, and more. So birthdays and holidays and presents. I'm telling you, you deserve an expert. You need a person. Make your own that person. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Go to goldennuggetjewelry.com, goldennuggetjewelers.com to learn more. All right. Now joining us, he is our resident leatherhead. He's busy in the film room, pasty. All right. He hasn't seen the sun. He's like a vampire.
He is a vampire.
All right. He's the football vampire. He's our man, Fran Duffy. Busy watching the Browns. What do you say, buddy boy?
Guys, I'm popping vitamin D pills like they're M&Ms these days, but we're getting through. That's how I'm getting my sunlight right now.
I love it. Let's discuss it because you dove into the Browns, right? And the Browns are a mess. Right? They're an unmitigated mess. And it's a shame because I like Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a good coach. He's got no quarterback, and that quarterback has completely derailed that team. What are you seeing, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, as bad as it sounds when you hear every analyst who watches the film, as bad as it looks on TV every Sunday, when you go back and you watch it on film on Monday, it's worse. It's bad. Yeah, it's really, really bad. My only theory as to why he's still in the starting lineup outside, obviously the money is the big deal, right? And you trade everything for him. But I think the big thing right now is that they're just waiting for Nick Chubb and this offensive line to get healthy to say, okay, if everything is right around him, and these are all the players that we were anticipating having around him in this ecosystem, and it's still bad, then let's make the move. I think that's the only thing they're waiting on, because honestly, even just watching that game on Sunday last week, you and I talked about it on Monday, said like, it's going to be Jameis when they come to Philly next week. They just can't keep trotting this out there. The only reason I think is that they're just waiting for Nick Chubb and that offensive line to get healthy.
Yeah, and plus you've got to believe that ownership's like, man, we spent all this money on this dude. You got to ride it out and see if it can change when they get healthy. So, what's the approach going into Sunday? Let's focus on them. Let's focus on their offense. What's the focus for the Eagles defense?
Yeah, I think the big thing is you want to try and mix up your looks against Deshaun Watson. I don't think that you need to like cut the dogs loose and blitz, because he does a nice job on his own of getting himself rattled and not cutting it loose at times. So I think that, you just want to kind of keep him on his toes, present different things to him from a coverage standpoint. Don't be static with the way that you line up, with the way that you try and deploy your personnel. And so my guess is that on the opening script on Sunday, you'll see Vic Fangio really mix things up with the way that things look pre-snap. You'll see those coverage disguises. You'll see them change their front looks. They've actually been really good, guys, on the opening script, Cleveland. Every game before this week against Washington, they were scoring points. It's like the anti-Eagles offense where the Eagles have struggled to get things going. They come out every week and they're able to move the ball. You see some nice scripted plays. You get the screen game and play action.
I know Kevin, of course, local guy, Ed Stefanski's son, the whole thing. He's a really good coach. I feel bad for him in the sense that he's a really good coach. And he's a good offensive mind. It's a shame that, he's saddled with that nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, he signed a 5-year extension in May or June, so I don't feel like they're going to make a move there. I really do feel like he's probably safe. That would be my guess. I think obviously the ownership is aware of what the situation is, but I think that when you come in, if you're the Eagles defense, you're Vic Fangio, I think you mix things up from that standpoint. Don't let them get into any kind of rhythm. Look, this is an offense, and they're the only team in the NFL so far that has yet to score 20 points in a game. They're the only team in the NFL so far that has even put up 300 yards of offense in a single game. I mean, it's bad right now in Cleveland.
Yeah. It really is, man. It's crazy. Now, the only thing they got going for them is their defense. That's still a very good defense. What's that challenge like? Because it was interesting watching Jaden Daniels. Man, I know that they were wilting on the field, and a lot of the damage came in the second half when things start to really get tight. You could see they were gassed, chasing him around the field. What did they do, the Commanders, to have success against that front?
Yeah, I think the big thing is that you want to try and work the different misdirection elements, play action, the screen game, and that's been something that's been an effective tool against this defense. I think the big thing too is that they're just not tackling all that well. That's one of the big differences from watching them last year when they were not just like the best defense in the NFL, but legendary defense in terms of what they were doing from an efficiency standpoint and from a production standpoint. You can rack that defense up against some of the best defenses in the history of the league from a numbers game standpoint. So I think when you look at trying to attack this group, you want to continue to try and keep them off balance from a pass rush standpoint. And so don't get into third and longs. That's always the cardinal rule, right? When you're going up against a front like this. Myles Garrett, I talked about how bad Deshaun Watson is, and it's like worse than it looks on film. We almost forget just how good he is. I mean, he is an alien off the edge. And so you want to do everything you can, everything in your power to keep it from, hey, it's third and long. He can pin his ears back and have a two-way go against Jordan Mailata one-on-one in pass pro. You just don't want that no matter who your left tackle is. And so I think the Eagles will be beneficial. It'll be beneficial to play action, screen game, quick hitting throws, move the pocket for Jalen Hurts. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of things where he's rolling out to the right, rolling out to the left. You just don't want to be stationary against that front. So I think that's the big thing is if they're able to lean into that, get the ball out of Jalen's hands quickly. This is a defense, like I said, that's been missing a lot of tackles, and that's been uncharacteristic of a Jim Schwartz group. You can create some explosive plays from that standpoint going up because of all the man coverage that they play. You make one guy miss, and now you can turn what could be an 8-yard play into 20. And so I think that's really where they've really struggled so far this year.
Now, Jim is a guy that likes to throw fastballs, and he looked and he saw the Todd Bowles tape, and he's going to throw fastballs. Now, you got AJ, you got Devontae back, you got Lane back. I mean, what's the counter here?
I think the difference in the way that these blitzes are going to look, with Todd Bowles, it's a lot of zone coverage behind it, and they're going to send bodies. It's going to be a lot of light bodies, a lot of, you have your slot corner coming, you have safeties coming, and then guys dropping out. With Jim Schwartz, it's much more straightforward with how the blitzes are going to come. They're going to put guys up on the line of scrimmage. You're going to get JOK, the speedy linebacker coming. You're going to get Jordan Hicks. You're going to get those guys coming, but it's a lot of straight man-to-man coverage behind it. So it goes back to some of the issues they're having tackling in the secondary. And instead of it being zone coverage behind it, where it's all eyes on the football and you've got guys able to rally, now if you can get the ball out to AJ and he's able to make one man miss, now all of a sudden you can get those explosive plays. You think back to Dallas Goedert on third down against the New Orleans Saints, where the ball comes out fast and he didn't make a guy miss. Guys ran into each other, but it's the same kind of idea. It's man-to-man coverage. If you can have those kind of concepts built into the game plan this week to get the ball out of Jalen's hands in a hurry, now you can create those explosives. And so you have to be ready for some of those blitz looks where they'll bring both linebackers up front, in the middle, over Cam Jurgens. So they're going to work out those protection rules this week here in practice. But the big thing is just getting the ball out fast and make that first man miss. If you do that, you can make some plays here against this defense.
Yeah, and real quick, and Jalen, the one thing we've seen from Jalen is that since they've put the answers, right, to the test, to the blitz test, since they gave him those answers, he's been good, man. When the ball's out, he's been focused. The ball's been on the money. And I think that's going to be the same thing. You got just get the ball out, man. Here you go, and it's going to be up to the Jalen just to continue to do that.
Yeah, because think about what the answers typically had been in previous iterations of this offense, right? It was, hey, we're going to throw a screen or we're going to throw a shot. He's going to drop back and in rhythm, he's going to throw a fade to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. And those guys can make those plays, but now it's more understanding, hey, you know what? There's going to be a quick sawed off little like hitch route over to the left, or there's going to be a little flare out to the back. Just knowing this is built into the progression where if you are hot, if there is a blitzer coming, now within the structure of the play, we have a little bit more high percentage to try and see if we can convert. And again, if you can make that first man miss, now you're instead of it being a 3-yard pickup or a 4-yard pickup, now you're able to get going. But if it's 3rd and 11, if it's 3rd and 12, that's where those plays aren't as fruitful. Because he was able to complete some of those against Todd Bowles and the Bucks, but they were getting stopped short of the sticks, and then you're forced to punt, right? So you want to try and see if you can stay in some more of those 3rd and manageable type of situations here.
Hey, Fran, the Browns, it seems like they have a pretty stingy pass defense. But on the opposite side, the rush defense on paper looks bad. I think they're giving up the 8th most yards rushing. So are they as bad as the stats seem against the rushing game? And should this be a Saquon game?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that coming out, they're going to want to try and see if they can establish the run and get things going there. It's what we've talked about that the last few weeks, right? Where it's lean into the bye week's all about finding your identity, lean into what you do well. And as we've discussed, this downhill rushing attack is one of the best in football. So I do think you want to try and lean on that. I think a lot of their run defense issues have come from really it's twofold. One, it's been those missed tackles. Jim Schwartz likes to keep those guys in the single digits per game in terms of missed tackles. And he actually said in a press conference, I think it was last week, that too often they've been in the double digits. So they've got to cut those missed tackles down, the Cleveland Browns. And I think that's been a big reason for some of their issues. But the other thing too is just volume, because other teams have been able to jump out to such big leads on them because the offense has been so futile that now they're getting in the second half and they're able to just run the ball. And so I think that's another reason why those numbers kind of show up. I do think, hey, early in games, this is a group that can stop the run. Dalvin Tomlinson's a really good nose tackle in the interior. Those guys at linebacker are really good playing downhill. They've got a really tough, ferocious defense in terms of their mentality. We know that Jim Schwartz, what he wants, like that's the style, the culture that he wants to instill with that unit. And so they're going to rally to the football. It's all about just trying to try to keep those missed tackles rolling with that group.
And I got to believe on the other side, right? This is a perfect game for the Eagles defense to feel good about itself, right? You got a guy that really, I've seen him hold on to the ball. He like you said, he finds his own issues. Like he holds on to the ball. I'm just looking at him, watching him play quarterback is just horrible, right?
With people wide open in front of him.
Like I don't understand. He almost looks like Wentz at the end.
Yes.
It's a good comparison because honestly, I said that on the show, on the PHLY Eagles show with Bo yesterday, where, I think that when you compound the way that Deshaun Watson is playing, but then everything else around him is also good, because you go back to those 2020 Eagles, right? Think of all the injuries along the offensive line. So you had all the issues the offensive line was having in protection. That's present right now with the Browns. You look at all of the pass protection metrics, and no matter what site you look at, whether it's pressure rate, sack rate, QB hit rate, all that stuff, it's all at the bottom of the league. So they've had like 6 or 7 different offensive line combinations because of all the injuries up front. So they can't protect. Because of the offensive line issues, and without Nick Chubb, they can't run the ball. They're one of the leaders right now in drops. Jerry Jeudy's dropping passes. Amari Cooper's dropping passes. You got balls bouncing off their hands, popping up, and they're being picked off, right? So even when Deshaun Watson does make a play, you saw in the red zone this past week against Washington, he rolled to his right in the red zone. He threw across his body, made a great throw to Jerry Jeudy right in the heart of the end zone, hit him right in the chest. It bounces back and it goes out of bounds, right? So like, it's a calamity of errors right now with the Cleveland Browns. No matter what they do, they can't be right. And you saw like him walking off the field because they've got 12 men in the huddle. It's one mistake after another. And so when the quarterback is playing as poorly as he is, on top of everything else, that's why, they're 18% right now on third down. 18% through 5 games. They've had 8 red zone trips in 5 games, 8 trips to the red zone in 5 games. One of them was off a short field. So they can't stay on the field offensively. I agree with you. Like, this should be a good right game for the Eagles defensively. The pass rush should be able to get home. Like, if Bryce Huff doesn't sniff the quarterback, that's a huge concern. Any concerns you had coming in, like, throw the white flag at this point if they're not able to get after Deshaun Watson in this game.
Yeah, it was in prep for the game. I was watching some old stuff. There was a great game where Actually, the Eagles won, and it was Foles who came in, if you remember that game. And Watson threw for like 350, I want to say, here. And I was watching him, and I'm going, man, he moved so much better. One of the big differences, he can't move. Well, when he was young and he was good before all the horrible stuff happens, he was a good quarterback and he could move.
I think a part of it is the confidence in what he's seeing. And look, I have no idea, right? Just, he's the only person that can answer this, but he doesn't play like a guy who's playing with confidence right now. And oftentimes when you're watching quarterbacks, and oftentimes this is with younger guys and not with vets, but they're playing so fast in their heads that it leads to them playing slow. So you're playing so fast up here that everything else is slow. And I kind of think that's what's happening with Watson. I will say one of the keys that I wrote, I have the article that's up on allphly.com right now. All my film notes with the on both sides of the football of the Browns and like keys to victory. One of the big things for the Eagles defense in this game is that you have to be ready to defend the scramble drill because Watson is playing so helter-skelter and he doesn't trust his first read, so he drops his eyes and he runs around. They are creating some explosives that way, and so you want to make sure that you are, being really disciplined with your rush, make sure that you're keeping him contained in the pocket, but then on the back end, making sure that you plaster up on those receivers. Don't let them get that late separation. That was an issue against the Bucs where guys were just running scot-free in the secondary. You don't want to have that here against the Cleveland Browns because while they are having issues securing the football in all those areas, like you don't want to give up those cheap plays late in the down where Watson is able to break the pocket and then get the ball out to Cooper or to Elijah Moore or to Jerry Jeudy. David Njoku back in the lineup. He's a guy that's been a playmaker for them in the past. And so you don't want to give up those cheap plays late in the down.
Everybody has to go to allphly.com and check out Fran's notes. They are incredible. If you're a football fan, you got to check it out. It's so good, so in depth. I love it. Hey, when you look at this thing, what do you want to see from the Eagles? Like what's like 50,000 feet? Knowing you had now, obviously you got to get off to a good start. You don't want to give that team any life. They're down. You want to kick them early and let them quit. What do you want to see from the Eagles?
Honestly, like no matter what it is that they come out and do, we had this conversation on the show yesterday. Hey, what do they need to do against Jim Schwartz's defense? How do you change things up? To me, like the Eagles are coming off the bye. They've had all this time to kind of talk about what their identity is and what they want to fix, what they want to lean into. Whatever they made their mind up on over the last few days, that's what you want to see them come out and try and establish early on in this game. Yeah, this defense in Cleveland is better than the offense, but to me, like come out, do what you feel like you are best at. Because you want to come out and have some momentum, build some confidence with a group that's really struggled, obviously, to move the ball down in Tampa. In New Orleans, it was a grind. They didn't score until the third quarter, late in the game in that one. You want to come out and establish whatever it is that you feel best about. So if it's the downhill run, if it's the play action game, if it's you want to get motion back involved, whatever it is that you worked on most, and you said that this is what we wanted to work on, and we don't know that. We're only going off of what they're telling us in pressers, but whatever that is, like come out and look clean. You want to be able to see opening drive. Like, we haven't seen them move the ball. They haven't scored a point in the first quarter yet. Like we want to see some first quarter points. You want to see them come out and look clean. So, no matter what they want to do from that standpoint, just come out and look like they have confidence, look like they have a confidence in the game plan and in that opening script. To me, that's the big thing here in this one is just to feel like they were productive in the bye week.
I like that.
Yeah, I was just looking at the depth chart. Jordan Hicks is their starting middle linebacker. How's he look on game tape this year?
He's nursing all kinds of injuries right now. He was listed on the injury report last week. He missed the game against Washington, 3 different injuries. So and he was limited this week. It does look like he's going to play. But I'll tell you, Greg, I mean, he looks good. Like he looks as good as he's always looked. I've always been a Jordan Hicks fan. He's just a rock solid player, impact the run game, pass game. He can blitz. He can do everything. He's not like A+ athletically, but he can definitely hang still in the middle of that defense. So no, he's playing well for them.
All right, and you got a gummy rating for me? This should be a 1 gummy game.
I think this is a 1 gummy game. It's football weather. We got our first frost here in Philly this week. I feel like this is nice. Like this should be a comfortable win for the Eagles. I got to think that they win and cover here in this one.
There you go. A one gummy game
He
for you,
set high
buddy.
expectations, though. Here we go.
Well, I mean, they should.
That's not feeling good though. Don't set it up too high. We don't want to feel too comfortable.
My man, great stuff as always. You're a treasure, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Fran Duffy, our resident leatherhead.
I'm amazed at
Portion
how
of the
deep he
program
gets
brought to you by the Bet Parks online sports book and casino. Yep.
Man, well, you look at those notes. It's the work of a brilliant madman in the best way possible.
Yeah, it really is brilliant mind stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. As a geek, as a sports geek, I love it. Yeah. All right, joining us, I believe he's in Las Vegas. He is the Brain.
Brain. Red, the Brain Finder.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, buddy. How are you?
You got the executive suite?
Yeah,
Yes.
is he the suite? Wow.
I do. Got the suite here, so what can I say?
You been to bed yet? Have you been up all night?
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, VG. I am tired. Like I am legit.
Well,
like I am.
I know.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, like it feels like I don't even know what it feels like, but you know what? I got it. Listen, I'm gonna give you what I got, but I'm definitely tired.
Hey, did you flee Florida and leave the Queen back to handle the storms?
I'm a smart guy. Heck yeah. I'm not going to deal with that. She's like, this broke, that broke. I'll see you Monday.
That's great. That is great. And of course, you took our man Versace with you, your son, our intern, to Vegas.
Oh man, well you guys know he's sleeping. I mean, that he, he's out. Like you'd have to like take a baseball bat, crack him over the head, and then he'd be like, oh, like he's out. Like he's forget about it.
Does he bring that Versace robe on the road with him?
Oh yeah, it's there. Yeah, he's styling.
It's so weird. So your son is what, 19?
Yeah, 19.
So I got two boys, and like I look at them now, and I can't imagine being in Vegas with them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah,
could shoot some dice, but
Possible be trouble in Vegas.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's hysterical. All right, buddy. I know you're a yeoman for doing this. Let's start with.
That reminds me of Floyd Yeomans, Anthony, another Phillies name from the past.
Yes, Floyd Yeomans. That's awesome. Didn't he pitch for the Expos?
And the Expos, yeah, man. Those were his quote unquote good days.
Yeah.
We didn't get any good days in Philly, but that's
no. All right. What do you got? We got all weekend, right? We got tonight, college, and then it's NFL Sunday, baseball, even hockey. What do you got?
I'll start. Look, I'm going to start with baseball, Anthony. Listen, we gave this out. Okay, and we gave this out the other day when he pitched, and I always talk about taking overs are very dicey. I think I gave you the other day. We went 2-1. We took Clark Schmidt went over, and Ranger Suarez went over in strikeouts. We lost with Dylan Cease. They took him out right away. That's the danger. But the one bet again, I told you the guy I trusted Zach Wheeler fully and Tariq Skubal fully. Tariq Skubal's gonna be on regular rest. They still made his strikeouts 5.5. I don't know how you make it 5.5 when the guy's 30-2 or 31-2 going over. I just don't get it. I mean, what do you think? He's just going to come out after 3 innings and say, have a nice day? I don't think that's going to happen. This guy, I think he had 8 or 9 or 10 last game against Cleveland. I see no reason why he won't get 6. I don't know how you make it 5.5. Again, to me, this is just, it doesn't mean he's going to get it, but man, I just think it's mispriced. I'm going to take that. And I have a Guardians 30-1 ticket to win the pennant. I'm rooting for him. But I got to tell you, I think Detroit's going to win. I think anytime Tariq Skubal pitches, I think they're around a minus $1.25 or so, $1.20, somewhere in that area on the park site. I don't know how you don't take Detroit every single time this guy pitches. He didn't go 18-3 by accident. He hasn't lost in the postseason. He doesn't give up runs. I don't need to overthink it. I think there's a much better chance than not that Detroit wins the game. And those are my baseball thoughts. And the Dodger game, definitely lean under in game 5. All hands on deck game. Totals 8. You have 2 good pitchers, Yamamoto and Yu Darvish, veteran. I expect a low-scoring, good quality game, but I don't think there's going to be 9 runs.
Yeah. Yeah, I that's going to be a great game. How about college football?
Yeah, look, college football. Look, I'll give you a couple stuff. I think Oregon is going to win this week. I do.
Wow,
I
that's
do.
a
I
great
told
one,
you we've been
man.
waiting.
Oregon,
I've been
Ohio
waiting.
State,
I've been
Ducks.
waiting to pick. I've been waiting to pick on Ohio State the right game. I think this is. I just have not been. Now Oregon didn't start out great, but they've actually looked better as of late. And I like getting points there. I think if Ohio State wins this game, it will be a one-score game. You can get over a field goal, and I just again I actually think Oregon's, not that I thought it was a bad number power rating wise. I mean, it opened up too high, some bet down, which I think is appropriate. But I actually I think Oregon matchup wise is going to win this game. I haven't been that impressed with Howard at quarterback for Ohio State. And something about this Ohio State team, they just haven't, I think something's just a little bit off. I can't put my finger on it. I think Oregon wins it. And look, our Penn State team here locally, guys, it's funny, and now this isn't one of those games that you talk about where
Penn
James
State
Franklin is.
USC. Yep.
Yeah, Penn State USC. I apologize. Penn State USC. Now James Franklin, we know, has never won those games. Just hasn't. I'm keeping it real. He hasn't won those games that he's supposed to. They're supposed to win this game, but he's struggled in games where harder matchups, so to speak, and he crushes lesser opponents. Getting some points here again. I think USC, similar to the Oregon game, I kind of think USC, their defense has actually been good. Offensively, their offensive line has struggled. But Penn State has let teams hang around. They haven't been dominant, if I'm just keeping it real. I mean, they're winning and they're getting it done, but they're going to have to win by some margin here by more than 4. I don't think they do. I think it's a 50-50 kind of game. Again, and I always take the points in games. I think you're going to be 50-50 kind of games. And then I'll give you one more in the Texas-Oklahoma game, guys. They used to be a lower scoring game. You get under 51. Oklahoma's defense has actually played well all year.
Yeah.
Offensively, they've shown nothing. Texas has a really good defense. I expect the Texas double-digit win. I do. But I think this game will be played in the 40s, not the 50s.
How about one of the other good game was Ole Miss LSU?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ole Miss. Look, the only way I can look here is the Ole Miss side. Ole Miss, to me, again, they had that hiccup, right? They had a really bad hiccup losing that game to Kentucky, which to me was, I was kind of shocked. I'll be honest, I was shocked. But I still think Ole Miss is going to make the playoffs. Now, LSU, they look, they're decent offensively, but I do not like them at all defensively. Now, again, it's a big number, but I just think matchup-wise, it's going to be hard for this LSU defense to stop this Mississippi offense. And I think this Mississippi defense has a chance to stop the LSU offense. So from a matchup point of view, again, I do think that Mississippi does win this one by margin, and they do find a way to cover this game.
Hey, Brad, I just wanted to ask for betting in general, because I looked at the slate, and the Penn State game jumps off to me as a novice college football bettor, because I see the number 4 ranked team in the country is only favored on the road by 3.5. Like, is that a smaller line than normal with a number 4 versus an unranked team?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But again, VG, what do you got to understand is there's just, especially this year, and you see it, VG, you watch a ton of the sports. Like, there's so much parity in these teams and these games. Like, look, Vanderbilt, Alabama. Like, there's no, like, the best team, whoever you think it is, whether you think it's Georgia, whether you think it's Alabama, whether you think it's Ohio State, versus, let's just say, a team like USC, which is obviously not a great team. I just watched them lose last week to Minnesota. But the difference between these teams week to week, VG, is just small. It's not like it's not what it used to be. Probably when we were growing up, some of these matchups, these lines would be double digits. Forget 3.5. They'd go right through the 7 and they'd be double digits. But now it's just a closer brand of college football. I think the portal system has changed the sport a lot. The NIL deals, everything's made it just more parity, where it's harder to get. As I used that NASCAR restrictor plate racing comp before. There's just more competition now in these college games where it's harder to have these blowouts. So the games are closer. Yeah, you see, Penn State's ranked high, USC's not. Oh, Captain Obvious. But if it was that obvious, we obviously would all be zillionaires breaking parks through the coals, you winning every single bet. But it's just not that simple. It's when you play them, where you play them. Matchup wise, like Anthony always likes to talk about, travel, days of rest. There's so many things that go into it that make it more complicated than that.
How about NFL?
NFL, look, I'll give you a local prop, which I like. Let me tell you something. A.J. Brown his last 27 games. Okay. 27 games, pretty big sample size, right? Almost 2 years. Has gone over 93.5 yards, 18 of 27. 93.5, 18 to 27. His over-under is, I believe, 68.5 or 69.5 right now on the Park site. Why? Why is it that low?
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy who's stone cold getting 25 yards, going over that by 25 yards 2 out of 3 times. We know A.J. Brown's a great player, not a good player. And again, first of all, what's the cornerback that got him spacing his name? Who's the really good cornerback, the 4th pick in the draft from the Browns from years ago? I'm spacing on his name right now. He's questionable. He's their best corner, and I don't think he's going to play from what I understand. But even if he does, I really don't care. Again, A.J. Brown to me trumps almost any cornerback except maybe Deion Sanders in his prime. So I like A.J. Brown. I like that. And then from a game point of view, guys,
Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward. Yeah, he was 4th pick in the draft, probably 5 years ago.
Yeah, he was terrific.
But anyway, from a game point of view, look, the Colts have a lot of injuries. And they just lost Pittman on top of it. No Taylor. You're taking away their best skill players now. The good thing for them is probably Anthony Richardson won't play. And again, they are light years better with Flacco. But I think the Titans win that game. You could either lay, I think it was laying like $1.40 with the money line, or I recommended probably laying $1.24. I think it is right now on the Park site. I do think the Titans, whoever they play at quarterback, right now are the better team than a banged up against VG. We talked about when you play a team. I think this is the bad spot, the wrong day for the Indianapolis Colts. I like the Titans at home to get this win. I really do.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I like it. I agree. I like the Titans this week. I think you're spot on. Listen, Brain, have a great weekend. Great father-son bonding, man. That's beautiful.
Appreciate you, buddy. I'll see you guys on Monday. Good luck, everyone.
There he is, the Brain. Go back to bed, Brain. There he is.
Go to bed.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. The Brain. What do we know? He's the ambassador for the BetParx online sportsbook and casino app. So it's a BetParx Friday. That means you got all kinds of stuff. Hockey starts, man.
Yeah, you got to bet the Fly Boys tonight.
Boys. You can look it up.
Let me see what they're
See what the line is. Vancouver is
good offense.
Right? What's the favorite? They're obviously the favorite.
Flyers are getting plus 143.
There you go. Go Fly, guys. The plus money. You got to love it. Well, the college that the Brain just talked about, NFL, Birds. I like the A.J. prop, especially against the Browns, who can give up a big play. You can see A.J., rolling for 77 and a score, right? And then all of a sudden, one play hits the over. So you can do all that. So you can bet all the games, you can bet all the props. They have it all right there on the app. It's unbelievable. It's such a great thing. And by the way, while you're watching all the games, you can make your downtime fun time with all the casino action. They have live blackjack dealers. You got roulette, craps. You got all the hot online slots. So check out it, man. It's really, really cool. And by the way, new users, download the BetParx online casino sportsbook app. You get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. BetParx.com has all the details. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's talk
Let's talk about Shady Rays. I'm a man who loves my sunglasses, and it's always sunglass season. So our friends at Shady Rays, they got you covered with premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. Shady Rays, an independent sunglass company, and they offer a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 satisfied people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all your outdoor adventures. They got hundreds of options to choose from, colors, whatever you want, whatever team you want to rock, they got the color for you. I use these things every day, especially in the mornings when I'm walking my dog, the sun's rising, take the glare right out. So, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head over to shadyrays.com and use the code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 happy people.
All right, buddy. It's a great sports weekend. It's a shame we're still kind of languishing with the Phillies, right? Like we still have that kind of Phillies hangover. But it is such a great sports weekend. Like, I love the college football, and the next 3 weekends in college football are unbelievable.
These are the good ones.
Yeah, this is where all the
This is
matchups
where it
come.
happens. I mean, I was looking today. There's Texas versus Oklahoma.
That's the Red River rivalry.
Yeah.
And then you got the Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, USC. Penn State has to win. I know we talked about USC. Penn State's got to win. Franklin's got to win this. This is a big trip. The alumni is going to be there.
It doesn't
in fact, our buddy Adam Taliaferro from our Penn State show is heading out, bringing a bunch of alumni out.
Oh, nice.
Right, to
LA?
At USC.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they got to win. Aller is.
You would think they have to win. I mean, so the way Brain's talking, it'll be a tight game.
It's a USC line.
Yeah.
You talked about it being so light. You know, that's what that is.
Our Vols given 15 to the Gators.
Your Vols.
Our Vols, man. Going to be a good game for those guys. I'm stoked. I know where I'll be at 7 o'clock.
Tonight, I can't wait. I'll be honest with you. Like, I got in my sort. Like, I'm such a loser, right? Because Friday night, you'll be bopping around town. I'll be watching.
I want to watch Padres,
Dodgers,
and Flyers.
And yes, it's a great doubleheader.
My group's trying to get me to go to Bates Motel tonight and do a little horror action. Yeah, I'm really torn. I just want to sit down and watch sports with a couple beers.
Yeah, but it's Halloween. You
I
got to
know.
get in the spirit of things.
Pagan's high season, so I mean, I got to do what.
Yeah, you got to do that. All right, we will preview Flyers coming up in about 10 minutes.
Nice.
With Charlie O'Connor, all PHLY Flyers. But first, on Friday we get to dive into the injuries with our favorite Rothman docs. That's right, Rothman Orthopaedics. We tell you about them. Let's welcome Dr. Christopher Dotson, who's one of the great surgeons. Hey, Doc, how are you, buddy?
Yeah.
How we doing, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Well, we got you perfect. One of the
Thanks so much
great
for having me.
surgeons, board-certified sports medicine surgeon, professor of orthopedic surgery at Thomas Jefferson University. And, of course, he's a consultant to the NHL.
Yeah,
Oh,
perfect.
man. How about it? Like, hockey starting, Doc.
It is. It's I think the first game was it tonight or tomorrow night, I think, for the
Tonight,
Flyers?
yeah.
Tonight, yeah, exactly right. So it's exciting time, and I'm always happy when I never get any phone calls. It's always a good thing when no one needs you.
How does that work? Like, so
Yeah, is there
if
a
God
beeper?
forbid something happens, like you're on call type of thing?
Yeah, so basically, in the NHL, a lot of the professional leagues, I currently do not participate in the care of the Flyers at all. But in the NHL, basically, they've asked certain doctors and communities who have experience, will you be on what's called the official second opinion list? So if you want to get a second opinion and you're an NHL player and you live near a city or something, then you have to use. It's something that the Players Association, the Players Union, comes up with the league who's acceptable to use, so to speak. So I get consulted from players around the league if they want to get another opinion about an injury. That's kind of how it works. So you're on the official quote unquote second opinion list.
So
That's fascinating,
They send
man.
you get digital versions of the X-rays and test reports.
And the MRI, exactly right. You have certain specialties. So I tend to do shoulder, elbow, and knee. So my specialties. So if they have a shoulder and elbow knee problem and they say, look, I want to get a second opinion. Oftentimes they don't want one, but if they want one, they'll say, who can I talk to? And then they'll I'm on that list and they'll kind of send me the images and,
Nice.
the agent might reach out or the player, et cetera.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
So you specialize in shoulder instability, ACL reconstruction, rotator cuff tears, and elbow injuries.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow,
I might have to give him a call. I wake up in the morning, my shoulder's always stiff. Holler.
My pitching days, man. Oh, man. Sometimes I still feel it when I go way back.
Yeah.
Because I throw to my 11-year-old. And so it still gets creaky, Doc.
Yeah, it's a common. You'd be surprised how many patients come to the office and like their main complaint is I can't throw with my kids, anymore, and that sort of leads us to certain things. But yeah, it's a common issue as we all age.
Hey, let me dive into this because, and let's be clear. I just want to be clear that the doc does not treat the A.J. Brown. So it's that we're going to talk about the injury about A.J. Brown. He's coming back from a grade 2 hamstring injury. Could you dive into that a little bit? Because, obviously he's such a big part of the Eagles offense. And that hamstring is always something that can linger, right? It's always something that I fear when a guy gets it, because you never know when that thing will kind of heat back up.
100%. So as you mentioned, I'm not taking care of AJ Brown. I do not know the specifics of his case, obviously, but I've certainly taken care of a lot of athletes with hamstring injuries over the last 15 years. Basically, when you said grade 2, that's really important. So we grade, hamstring injuries, for example, 0 would be nothing, and then kind of really 1 through 3. And so the reason why we do that is because, it's been well studied by a lot of authors. And, when we publish articles in orthopedics and sports medicine, the idea is the higher the grade, the longer the return to play. And so, the athlete will tell us, look, I felt my hamstring pull. So, they did something. The MRI is what we use to grade the injury. And so basically a 3 would be what we call like a complete tear or a gap. And then a 1 would be more of like a strain. And a grade 2 is somewhere in between the two of those things. And so what we found, which kind of makes sense, is the more serious the grade, the longer return to play. And that's important for the player, his family, the agent, the team, the coach to understand, well, what can I expect as far as return to play based upon that injury? So, grade 2 is in the middle. And so, we use sort of a classification system to try and help kind of predict return to play.
What's usually the timetable for something like that?
Yeah, great question. So we did a study here. We looked at athletes. Beginning in 2013, we looked at a period of time where we just treated them conservative. Most of these injuries, the overwhelming majority, are conservative treatment where there's no surgery, you let it heal. So we looked at a study several years ago we published, and basically we looked at when we didn't intervene and when we did intervene, meaning when someone had a grade 2 injury and we did nothing, the return to play was about 35 days. So you think about that in the NFL, that's a long time. When we had our radiologist take some of what's called a hematoma. So when you strain or injure the hamstring, it can bleed locally. We did a study where we then, for a period of time, took the fluid out and then injected what we call PRP. PRP is where we take your own blood and spin it, inject the plasma. The return to play for grade 2 was about 25 days, 24 days. So we felt like it was about a 12-day difference, which again, in a 17-game season is a big deal because you're talking about, almost a couple of weeks. So in that study, we found that about 24 days, 26 days, close to 3 weeks was on average the return to play for grade 2 when we did something, and when we didn't, it was another 12 days. So that gives you the time frame of, it's some time. I mean, a grade 2 injury, you're going to miss time for sure.
The PRP is fascinating. I remember first hearing about it years ago. Kobe went to Germany for the PRP. I mean, this was, 20 years ago. What can you explain a little bit of that and why that is so helpful to the injury?
Yeah, I think you technically went for what's called Regenikine, which is a kissing cousin of it. But basically, the idea is PRP is, someone would draw your blood, and then in everyone's blood, you have what are called platelets. And so we know that the platelets are helpful for healing, and also for inflammation, preventing inflammation. And so we have sometimes, not to be too complicated, you have white cell rich PRP and white cell poor. But the idea is you take out, some of the more inflammatory components of your blood and you spin it down to what's called platelet rich plasma, or PRP. And then we've used that to help control inflammation in arthritic knees. We've used it to help control in tendons and ligaments as well, to kind of enhance healing. And we found that study, it helped us about 12 days. So that's kind of the concept. It's very commonly done at high level athletes. I actually do it in my personal practice as well for patients.
Wow.
And so, unfortunately, insurances don't cover it. So it's hard to do to general population because it's a bit expensive, but there definitely is a role for it. And we've been doing it in high level athletes for a long time.
That's fascinating. Hey, for weekend warriors, right? The hamstring, protecting the hamstring. I mean, we've all felt that tweak, right? We've all, what's for guys like us that still want to be active, how do we protect it? And what do? We feel it. Because there's that feeling where all of a sudden you go, uh-oh. And the next thing you know, you're walking like that to the side.
Yeah. 100%. So great question. So I think, Tom Brady talks about this a lot when he was playing, about this whole concept of pliability. And one thing that I've learned, because I'm a surgeon and I do a lot of surgery, I tend to be hunched over, and I try to be a pretty avid golfer. And so one thing I realized is that my back, as I've gotten older, gets really, really stiff, and it affects my golf swing and affects how I feel in my recovery. And so I've really tried to increase mobility. I think the one thing that we could do as weekend warriors is you can become a little more mobile. So if you work on mobility of the hamstring, then, one of the reasons why we think hamstrings get injured is because they get overstretched. Well, it's harder to overstretch it if it has mobility to start with, if that makes sense. So I think paying attention to that, doing something once or twice a week where you stretch your hamstrings and increase mobility is really helpful. Another thing I would say is that, I work out with a trainer a couple times a week, trying to do some component of hamstring strengthening. I think most of us go to the gym and want to do biceps and chest because we're trying to, look a little better in the mirror.
Yes.
And no one looks at your hamstring, right? So no one's like, oh, this guy's got great hamstrings. This woman's got great hamstrings. But doing some hamstring strengthening, putting attention to it, I think is really helpful. And so that when you're going to play basketball, do whatever, you have a less likely to tweak it because, again, as we all know, as you get older, if it's taking, 2 to 3 weeks for a high-level athlete, for us, it's going to take 6 weeks probably at least, right, to come back from a hamstring issue.
Yeah, it's funny you said about being stretched because that's exactly what it feels like. When you tweak it, it feels like it got stretched out. And you can almost feel that in your hammy. It's wild.
That's exactly right. And the same applies for Achilles, and that's the other one we all worry about, right, is your Achilles. Same concept, that overstretch, yeah.
I have a cadaver Achilles in my left. And I was just talking about it with Dr. Pedowitz helped me with my right one and non-surgical. In fact, I talk about it because I'm amazed by it. He gave me these nitro packs that stimulated the blood flow to the Achilles, and it calmed it down to the point where I don't have any pain on it.
Yeah, it's actually a brilliant concept, right? So, a lot of these issues are, the blood supply in some of these tendons, and especially Achilles, isn't great. And it's kind of a brilliant solution, right? A nitro patch, which is designed to help expand vasculature, which people use for angina, for heart issues. Yeah. You just put it locally and it increases the blood supply. So it's actually a pretty cool little trick.
Yeah. Doc, I got to tell you, what a pleasure, man. You're terrific.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having us.
Okay?
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Thank you. You're amazing.
Take care.
Dr.
Right,
Dotson.
okay.
He's terrific. Dr. Christopher Dotson. Man, he's what a surgeon. Those guys are amazing to me.
He's got a good, confident vibe to him.
Yeah, like I want Doc.
Yeah.
Like I want him. Yeah. If I got to get surgery, I want Doc.
My ACL's going, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm all right with this guy.
Yeah. You there? Hold on. I'm going to call you. Mm-hmm. All right. It's time for a little Flyers hockey soon as we wait for our man Charlie
Zamboner season.
Well, explain, because you referenced Zamboner, right?
That's a Jamie term.
Well, right, because Jamie and I, when we were doing the show, Jamie said, I'm a casual hockey fan. Mm-hmm. And he's more than, but you both are more than casual hockey fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's tongue in cheek.
But you called yourself Zamboners.
Well, because there are hockey fans who are like Charlie.
Right.
It's all play off the Zamboni machine. So, I mean, there are guys who are hockey heads. I really can't name the second line of the LA Kings. I know the Kopitar had a hat trick last night, and he's like 38 years old and still going along.
He still score.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not in depth. So there's a difference. So we respect the hockey heads who are in it.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I love, since I was a little boy, the one constant is I love a new season.
Yeah.
Like when a new season tips off, kicks off, you name it, right?
Yeah.
I get so into, I can't wait to I'll like when baseball, I'll watch all week long day games and everything. The hockey have already started. I was watching last night. I'll watch all night tonight. The other night, Tuesday night, I think was when the leagues opened, and I caught a little bit of
saw a little bit of the global action. Was that Saturday, I think?
Utah. So I was watching the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like it. I like their color scheme.
Yeah, I actually liked it.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I liked it, and that's why we can't wait for we got Flyers line, we got Michkov. It's our first kind of foray into it,
dude. How long has it been as a Flyer fan since we've had this kind of excitement to really watch something and hope? Like I was talking earlier about hope. I've got hope, man, that they're on the right track. We're going to have a decade of good hockey with Michkov.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about what you wanted from the Flyers is first, give me somebody I can watch, right? Like they've been devoid. We used to joke about muckers and grinders.
Yes.
Right. And it's good. Listen, Giroux was a terrific player, but like he wasn't.
I think we overrated him.
Lindros,
Yeah.
like he wasn't a true superstar. Like you look around the league and there's like all kinds of studs, right? Like, each team has big time players, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's Nathan McKinnon, right? Like, so, oh my God, the ad, like, Edmonton's got two of them.
It always
right?
felt like a reach when they were comparing G to those players around the league.
And that's why it's like, all right, like now you got somebody to grow with.
And more importantly, we have a plan.
Yes.
God bless Jonesy. I was a little skeptical about the whole hiring, but we have a plan. It always felt like the Flyers were just plugging holes in a dam, like just trying to keep in the playoffs. And now we actually have a blueprint of where we're going and some patience.
Yeah, when I think about them, it was always like they were so worried about attendance. Right. It was like instead of building the teams, like, well, we're gonna sign towards putting people in the seat to fill that arena.
Yeah.
It was like filling the arena was it. Instead, I've always said this, like you got to go into it, build your team. If it means lean years, that's why I was pro process, right? Like at some point you got to build it and build it to work.
Yeah,
build it to win.
Totally agree.
And then everybody comes, and then there's excitement. And then you're selling merch, and then you got buzz.
You got some young kids in the pipeline. You get a little salary cap freedom. They're always usually up against the cap with these old aging veterans. I felt like they were always a year behind when they got big names that come here.
Well, dude,
like Howard Chalk.
Dude, if you Howard Chalk, you could. I mean, JR still had game left.
Yeah,
but
he was still on the downside.
Yeah, I mean, like you can go. Oh my God, I go through the 80s, like from the 80s and 90s and 2000s. I mean, Yager, right? Like, look at all of them.
He's still playing.
It's amazing, right? Like all those guys. When I remember in the 80s when I was a kid, Darryl Sittler, who was a great player for the Maple Leafs. We got him. I'm like, oh my God! And then I realized that he's cooked. Like
cooked is a great term.
Like we got all kinds. We always had.
Like when's the last time we had like the core of like? Remember we had Zezel and Tockett and like a core of young guys that were like you had some hope and belief in.
Yeah, that crew, that draft. There was that draft where they got Tockett, Zezel, and Derek Smith.
Yeah,
that was that draft. That was
They were fun to
that
watch.
was the '87. That was that whole Edmonton, the back end of the 80s was that crew. I mean, that was a big deal.
That was pure joy, that Edmonton. As a kid, that's like we talked about not remembering the Stanley Cup. I remember that 87 series. That was
my God.
phenomenal.
I mean, that was amazing. I mean, that was one of the most amazing things to watch that.
Yeah.
Oh my
they
God.
took like the greatest team ever to 7 games.
Yeah. And you know what the thing is, the Flyers, like I miss them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I miss their relevancy. There was something about, like, we're going to go nostalgia here, but that's all we have with the Flyers, truthfully, right? It was Thursday night. It was Sunday night. Those were the home games.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
felt like Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday or something.
Like, those were Thursday and Sunday were always the home games.
Yeah.
Like, I always remember at the Spectrum.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I was an usher at the Spectrum.
It used to be a big deal. Me and my friends would always gather around for every Flyers game, and then it just fell off.
Yeah, it was, man. Like the bar, like the corner bars were like, watching people would watch Flyers game, like go regular season, go to the bar and watch just watch a Flyers game,
and like. My family, my aunts, my older aunts, like in Kensington, they put stuff in their windows. South Philly still does. They put the stuff in the window. They dress the windows up for Flyer season.
No, I'll never forget the bay window.
Yes.
The bay window would have the big Stanley Cup. We did that. Yeah. The bay window was like a big deal. Yeah. And that was
always the fancy. The people in the neighborhood had a little bit more cash when they got the bay windows put in.
And the other thing too, like. And that one goes back to, we started the show today talking about turning the page and how you need gumption, like to turn the page. the Phillies' loss was devastating. It really was. I mean, it was premature. It was the Mets. Like, there were so many things that was devastating about the Phillies' loss, right? Like, we all expected a run. I think back to those May and June days, you know, where this team, like Citizens Bank Park, was singing.
We were
felt
talking
like
about how
Red October.
Yeah, we were talking about how it was
spring.
different this year. The energy was crazy intense, and how much we love these players. And we were enjoying the ride, and
it just felt like it went like this. It just felt like it went
bumpy and rickety.
Sideways, man. It really was.
Had a bunch of potholes along the way.
I know. I mean, I just, you know, again, it was a really disappointing. But the lesson is, you know, that hamster wheel. Some say hamster wheel to hell.
Some.
I don't, because I think it's a good
You
thing.
don't? I never even heard it before. You said it.
Well, yeah, I know.
You don't say it?
I coined it,
Yeah,
but I
you
don't
coined
believe it.
Yeah.
All right. I don't
Just
believe
to
it.
describe our misery.
I believe in more the, you know, I think it's a good thing. I look to the next season as a way, and it feels like the Eagles coming off the bye are almost restarting their season.
I'm not a big surprise guy. I feel like a new season surprises, and I'm good with them, and I'm good. Like, this Eagles is, I have no idea what to expect. No idea. Are they going to come out and steamroll these Browns, which they probably should, but is it going to be a nail biter?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I feel like it's like a restart. It's like you got to hit the restart. You hit the reset button, right? And, you know, you come back out, now you go.
And it better be going well, because they don't have a late bye week. This is it now. It's week to week, pedal to the metal from here out.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd much rather have the bye week now.
Well, they needed it. Everyone was against it this early, but they needed it early this year.
Yeah, listen. I think, you know, I wanted the bye week. You this early, it worked. You got healthy. We just got done talking to the doctor about AJ Brown's injury. Like, you know, that having AJ back is, you know, let's face it, he is comfort for Jalen.
Well,
He's comfort for Hurts.
I mean, he's one of the top 5 offensive players in football, I feel like.
He is, but
game
he's
changer.
He is, but even beyond that, like, you know, he just relies on him, right?
Yeah.
And now you got your full complement.
Yeah, when all else fails, just run and I'll heave it up to you.
Yeah. I mean, and you look at it now and you go, all right, like, let's see. The last time we saw the offense intact, fully intact, was in Brazil.
Yeah, you're right.
And, you know, it was a quasi preseason game, and it had a preseason feel to it. And they were able to move the ball and put up points.
Yeah, I'd be great. If that offense looks like that, easy peasy the next. Well, I'm not saying it. The next 4 games should be favorable if that offense looks like
Well, here's what you got. You got
we got a little
Browns.
Yes.
All right. At the Giants. And
the Giants are playing better.
Well, the weird thing is that, you know, they went and they beat Seattle. Now, they were about to lose, and they blocked a field goal and ran it back for a touchdown. So they wound up winning 29-20.
Yeah.
And then
they're showing life.
Yeah, but you know, that's the Barkley revenge game.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's got to be, you got to be there. Then you're at Cincinnati.
That's a tough one.
Except they're not playing well. Their
offense is looking pretty good.
Their defense is wretched.
No, but you're going to have to put up a 30 spot against the Bengals.
Yeah, with their defense. And then you got Dougie coming into town.
Yeah, Doug's not great.
Doug's hanging by a thread. Right? I'll ask you this, because we're talking a lot about expectations. And what are your expectations? My expectation is 3-1. 3-1.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like, nothing short of 3-1.
No.
You love to run all 4, but it's the NFL. So give me 3-1. And that's a 3-1 schedule. Now, all of a sudden, you're, 5-3 going into the Cowboys.
Perfect. And that should be a win.
And both of those teams are,
I'm more worried about the Commanders and the Cowboys at this point. I really am.
Yeah,
Commanders,
I hear you, but
look like they got something cooking.
It's at Dallas.
I know.
The only thing about Washington, and I love Daniels, right? I love Daniels at LSU. He moves to throw. I mean, he's a talent. The only thing I tell you is that their defense is not good. It's not. It's bad. It's really bad. Look. You're playing against the Browns last week. Their defense is not good,
but they look exciting on offense.
Yeah, but I still think Dallas is
You think Dallas defense is better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Much better, actually.
Just because people are asking in the chat, I am drinking a pumpkin chai latte. And people are thinking it looks like a banana smoothie, but no.
It does.
This is my first pumpkin drink of the season, and they're all giving me static in the chat room. Man, no more pumpkin.
I think Andrew started that one in the chat.
Andrew, what's he, camping on the chat
Live
room?
from the campsite. We want to know what you're drinking.
Yeah, Frazier, our boy Frazier is camping. Man.
I do not camp.
Dude, camping now
sounds like
too,
punishment.
It's like the temperature's going down. It's cold. I woke up this morning. I was freezing.
Yeah.
He's doing 3 nights of this, I think. Tonight, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
By choice.
Tuesday.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, where at? Like, where are the? He said somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Probably the Poconos. I don't know.
He loves this life.
Yeah.
Have you seen his trunk, cuz?
Yeah, he had everything. I saw it yesterday.
He's like a survivalist, like a woodsman survivalist.
Yeah, God forbid.
Eating
If there is a need for survival, I won't survive.
yeah, I'm with you. Survival better be at an ocean town or a European town.
Yeah, I'm
even
out.
worse, Andrew's driving right now.
Yeah, I'm out.
Where am I going to the bathroom?
I got no
wait, where do we shower? Get out of it. There's a possibility of a bear waking me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
Yeah. I'm completely out on that, dude. No good. All right, so expectations. Let's think about that. We got Baldy coming up, but I want to quickly go back to the Flyers because this is the start of this season, this celebration. And I don't know what Charlie's in Vancouver, and I don't know what happened to him.
Not sure.
He evaporated. And
maybe a bear ate him.
He got eaten by a Canuck.
Hiking. They do a lot of hiking in Vancouver. Maybe he's on a hike with no service.
I was in Vancouver.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city.
It is a beautiful city.
Yeah, I did. When I was at the Inquirer, I did a Flyers West Coast Canadian trip.
Oh, nice.
Which I loved.
Was Vancouver your favorite of the West Coast cities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, and I think it was Minnesota was in that too.
I want to do a Calgary trip. It seems like that'd be a nice town to hang out in for a weekend.
I was in Calgary. It was actually, I'll tell you exactly when it was. It was 1999 going into 2000. Because everybody was worried about Y2K.
Oh, yeah.
And how,
what a blip.
Like, they were thinking, oh, my God, like, the computer, everything's going to go haywire. And I never forget, because we were what would happen New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And I made the trip. I was in Calgary in December. I actually got home on New Year's Eve.
Whew, thank goodness.
To be with my wife.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. We wound up, she was my girlfriend then. I wound up being in Calgary at like December 29th, and it was 72 degrees.
What?
And I walked from the hotel to the Saddle Dome. And it was like an anomaly. It was crazy.
Hey,
all right.
Eddie Ray says the only camping he likes is in front of a net.
I like that, man. That's good hockey right there. Camping in front of the net. You know what I mean? Like, that's all right. All right, let me tell you about the Parks Casino. I tell you about it all the time. Parks Casino is the best. All right, so here we go. Here's our lineup. Pennsylvania's #1 casino, Parks Casino. They got the Excite Center, one of the many things that I love about Parks Casino. Great venue for musical acts, comedy acts. It's just terrific. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino. Street Road exit off at 95 and the PA Turnpike. You got the Beer Garden, Parks Grill Steakhouse, the Bamboo Noodle House, which is great. State-of-the-art sports book, Parks Poker Room, the Excite Center. State-of-the-art entertainment venue inside Parks Casino has these acts. You ready for these headliners? October 24th. You got TLC.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
You camp out. November 1st, Invincible, tribute to Michael Jackson.
Dirty Diana.
I liked yesterday what you did. What did yesterday? Yeah, that was good. November 16th, your boy Brett Michaels.
Every rose has its thorn.
November 23rd, comedian Steve Trevino. December 6th, Patti LaBelle.
I'm feeling good from my head to my shoes. Know where I'm going and I know what to do.
December 13th, the podcast Are You Garbage? As we feel it. December 14th, comedian Eric D'Alessandro, Parks Casino. This is how you win. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm taking a deep breath because all because of Rite Aid hooking me up. My allergies were terrible this morning. Fall allergies are here. They're going to last for a while. And ragweed is my main culprit, but other stuff out there that'll bother you, some sagebrush, tumbleweed, and pigweed. And those dust mites are always around. So allergic reactions, they happen when some allergens hit your nose and, histamine start going crazy. So you get a runny nose, itchy, watery eyes, wheezing, a little foggy. So what can you do to get relief during this allergy season? First of all, sign up for Rite Aid reward emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive email alerts when there's allergens are high in your area. Use a dehumidifier. You can actually use your air conditioning, which I had to the other night, even though it's cold, because the outdoor winds were just bringing in the allergens. So there's a bunch of over-the-counter options available at Rite Aid. You can try a nasal rinse to flush out your nasal passages, and when symptoms are flaring up, you can do what I did, grab an antihistamine, such as Claritin or Zyrtec. And if nasal sprays are your John, some nasal corticosteroids like Flonase and Nasal-Cord are available. Rite Aid's got these brands, and their own brands are also available at a slightly less price. Still not enough relief. Ask your Rite Aid pharmacist if there's a different type of allergy medication you can get. Maybe they'll give you a decongestant. And you can always ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for recommendations on other ways to get relief during this allergy season.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it. This portion of the program is brought to you by Rite Aid, riteaid.com. All right, so Football Friday coming up. We're going to have Baldy join us. And I miss Baldy. We
haven't had him all week. Have we?
No, not this week. I mean, we've been so locked in on baseball really since last week because we didn't have him last week either. End of the week.
I wonder what road trip he's off to this weekend. He always goes to a game, right?
I mean, it's going to be a Football Friday, so you got to have the Baldy. And I'm going to ask him for some life advice too.
Oh yeah,
for all of us, right? Like for all the this idea of tempering expectations.
Yeah. Do you think he's a man of high expectations?
Yes, I believe that Baldy would never padlock his heart.
He doesn't go low.
I believe that Baldy lives life to the fullest, and that means he goes after it. Here he is. Baldy.
A man of low expectations.
You are. He's not.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes pizza and football. Oh, boy.
There he is.
Yeah.
We missed him. What's up,
Morning,
brother?
guys. How you doing?
Yeah, well, we got, we've been in baseball mode.
I know.
Right?
I know.
That's
I know. There was a funeral yesterday, cuz. I know all about that funeral yesterday.
I got to ask you, because we've been having a discussion, and I said I wanted to ask you, because there is a debate that Greg and I are having, which is like he wants to guard his heart. He wants to temper expectations. There was a study in London.
Why?
Science, Baldy. It's science.
What's science?
There's a study out of the University of the College of London that said people with lower expectations find happiness more often in life.
All right. I mean, I understand the reasoning. Okay, why they might say that. Of course, this is college professors coming up with nonsense. But no, okay. Like, you really want to really suck the life out of life? You really want to enjoy it? Like, don't you have to go for it? And if you fail, you get up, dust yourself off, and go do it again.
No, you go for
That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. And I knew that Baldy would have that reaction.
If you go for
He's a
it,
man who lives life. He's unafraid.
if you go for it expecting failure and you fail, it's not a big deal. You just go for it again. But if you go for it expecting success and you fail, it could be It's a lot to take, man.
First
It's
of all,
hard on
nobody
you.
goes for it expecting to fail. When Baldy play, listen, Baldy, by all rights, should never have made the NFL. Baldy, tell them the story, Baldy. How many undrafted free, when you first arrived at Cowboys camp, right? How many were there, rookies were there?
Well, I was one of 110 free agents they signed, and they drafted, this is back when it was a 12-round draft. We had 15 drafted rookies. We had 125 rookies. 6 of us made it. I was the only free agent, but six rookies made the team. They had just lost to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game on a Dwight Clark catch in the back of the end zone. So this was a good football team. But yeah, I was 6 rookies made that team. But I wasn't supposed to make it. But you enjoy the competition every day. And I never actually that year. I remember, I'll never forget this because I think I told you this, but on the flight, the Cowboys were first class, still are, but they flew me first class from JFK in New York to LAX. So I just sat on that plane. I ate like ice cream and I just ate the whole time. I thought, this is awesome, man. I get to LAX, they lose my luggage. It's not there, right? Pan Am. Remember when Pan Am was a business?
Pan Am.
So I was so pissed. I'm like, screw it. Even if my luggage shows up, I'm wearing the same thing every day. I'm never going to change my clothes the entire time. I wore the same hospital green shirt and blue coach's shorts and flip-flops. I wore it every single day. I said, if they cut me, then they could just send my luggage down to my sister's house in Long Beach. I'll just go down there.
See, though, he said I didn't expect to make it, and he's having a good time on a flight, eating his face off.
Yeah,
Lower expectations.
Hold on. I went in there saying, I'm going to fist fight every day. I don't care if it's Randy White, Don Smerick, Too Tall Jones. I don't care. I'm going to fight every single day, and they're just either going to put up with me, accept it, or they're going to go, that guy, we need more people like that on my team.
See, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about there's the hamster wheel of hell, right?
Yeah.
And which is Philadelphia 4-for-4. So we go from Phillies horrible disappointment to now jump back on the Eagles, right? The Flyers start tonight. So then you have that. Sixers have their first preseason game tonight. So you have that. So it's the wheel, right? It's the 4-for-4 wheel. They call it the hamster wheel of hell, even though I coined it. And I go, jump back on, man. That's what you do. And believe.
Can I ask you one question about this Mets-Philly series?
Yeah.
One question. I mean, I know they've all been asked and answered. But as far as I know, the Mets have 2 players that can hurt you. Lindor and Alfonso. That's it. Pete Alonso, Lindor. That's the only 2 guys that can hurt you. How do they let them hurt you?
Well, actually, that kid Vientos is really good.
Okay, all right.
So,
fair enough.
So he's really good. Nimmo is decent, right? We hate him, but he's decent.
All right.
And then the other aspect of it, the real reason why the Phillies lost was because of their hitting, their lineup, right? And the Mets have junk lefties. They pitch with guile. They're not throwing 100. They know how to pitch. They hit you with change-ups. They hit you with off-speed breaking balls. The one Mania, he changed his arm slot. The one Quintana has a real slow delivery, then he speeds up, right? So it's a lot of tricks and guile, and that kills the Phillies. And they just couldn't hit, and that's why they lost. I mean, I know their bullpen imploded, but it was really their lineup.
Okay, all right, good enough. Nah.
You guys are coining stuff. You got the hamster wheel of hell. They're just saying, you don't even realize this. Hospital green could be a new Crayola color that Baldy just came up with. He's wearing a hospital green shirt.
I love that. Hospital green.
Shout out to K-Red who noticed the hospital green.
I used to be an intern at Duke Hospital, right? Because I was thinking about maybe being an orthopedic. So I was taking all these courses. So I was interning. I'm like, at least out of this internship I'm doing, I'm going to get all the hospital greens I can get, whether it's the pants or the shirt or whatever. That's basically all I wore, because I was going to do laundry. So just get the hospital greens and just turn them in. That's what I wore.
You think did you want to be a surgeon? I think you
Yeah.
could have been a surgeon.
Yeah, no, Duke had a good program. There was a bunch of guys that played football there that became surgeons. One became the team surgeon for the Baltimore Ravens, T. Mormon, my center next to me. Yeah, a bunch of guys. There was a good program there back in the day. But to be honest with you, I was just so pissed off about how people attacked like rehab. They just didn't want it bad enough. I'm like, I couldn't deal with those people, man. Like, you just tear your ACL, you're in there to do rehab. I'm there to kind of walk them through this stuff. I'm like, they were just like, they just didn't attack it the way you got to attack rehab. I'm like, how am I going to change this? It's just
It's like a drill sergeant orthopedist.
How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Smile through the pain.
Deeper squats.
All right, let's go. All right, now let's look at this to business. Eagles after the bye. It feels like a restart to the season, right? You got AJ back, you got Devontae, you got Lane, right? And so it feels like, all right, 2-2. All right, might as well be 0-0. You're back. Restart. How do you feel about them?
I feel good about the offense, guys. AJ Brown has 5 catches. He's played 1 game. I mean, he's their best offense. I mean, maybe Barkley, I don't know. But I mean, he's their best receiver by far. And he changes the game. He's got 18 touchdown catches from Jalen the last 2 years. I mean, he's a game changer. So I feel good about the offense. I really do. I mean, I think they should be able to do whatever they want to do. Cleveland's a good defense. Schwartzy comes in there with a massive ego. You know, he wants to like show Howie and Jeff like you got the wrong. That's Schwartz. Okay, he's good. I am very worried about the defense, and I don't know if you just say, okay, reset. What are we going to do? Because they can't line up like they did against Tampa. And I mean, as bad as Deshaun and Cleveland is, I don't care who's playing. They got the Giants, like all this stuff coming up. I mean, they got to play better on defense. You know, you play 4 games, cuz I haven't seen anybody knock a ball loose. Anybody. I mean, I don't see a fumble on the ground. Reed's got the 2 interceptions. They're not taking the ball away. They're not rushing a passer. They're giving up 5 yards to carry. Now that sounds like the hamster wheel of hell right there to me. But that they've got to fix. I don't know what they do because they're not going to go out and get anybody off the street that's going to help them right now. Maybe somebody at the trade deadline. I mean, Howie's been known to do this stuff, but that's not going to help them for Sunday. Like they've got it. And this is not a good offensive line in Cleveland. If you want to start getting some numbers, this would be a good group to do it against. They're terrible on third downs, but I am worried about the defense going forward.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, can that front listen, they're Jalen, right? Carter, right? Can Carter kind of if he blossoms? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm grasping.
It's got to start there. Honestly, cuz it's got to start there. He's their most talented player. It has to start there. For 12 years, Fletcher set the tone. Like he was just an animal, country strong, like and loved to play. Like he set the tone. They had all these pieces, Hassan and Brandon and all these guys win a Super Bowl. Chris Long comes in, gives him rep. Man, Fletcher set the tone inside. And that's, going up against Zach Martin, that was a classic battle every time they played the Cowboys. Fletcher was special. And for a long time. Like that's what Carter's got to be. He's got to be, he's got to be, and Fletcher was there every Sunday. Like he's got to be that guy. He's got to set the tone.
Now the Browns come limping in. I mean, we all saw them against Washington on Sunday again, and I've watched them a couple times. I mean, Deshaun Watson's lost. I mean, I feel bad for Kevin Stefanski, who we like. He's a really good coach. Yep. I mean, they pose very little threat offensively. I mean, I gotta believe that this is at least get well. You still know Nick Chubb. I mean, how do you feel about that matchup?
Well, I feel like, look, I mean, the Raiders just defended the Browns. Washington, who's not a great defense by any stretch, just defended them. I mean, Deshaun's got to play down inside the 10-yard line. They run these crossers with Judy and Amari Cooper. I mean, whether it's man or zone, it's a good play. If it's man, you're going to get a rub in the middle of the field. If it's zone, let's see if Washington can pass it off. Well, they don't. They blow it. And so 2 guys go with Amari Cooper, and there's Jerry Judy with his hand up, and it's good protection. But his eyes are down. He doesn't see it, and he goes and he sacks himself. Not just sacks himself, but he gets crushed, by Dorrance Armstrong. So I just lose it. I mean, it's one play, but it's still, if the rookie made that play, it's a rookie mistake. This is one of the highest paid players in the league. He's got a ton of experience. There's no reason for Deshaun to miss that read.
No. I mean, he looks completely lost. All right, let's look at the division and kind of size up the division. Here we are through 5 weeks. What are you seeing? Let's start with Washington, because they've been the surprise team, right? Their offense looks terrific. The kid Jaden is just amazing. How real are they?
Well, it's real because they're stacking wins and they're very confident. But, we had Zacchaeus here in Philadelphia. He didn't do anything. Like, he's a legit number 3 guy. They traded Jahan Dotson. They knew what they were trading away, right? They replaced him by Luke McCaffrey. He's a much better player. He's bigger, faster. He's a great blocker, and he's a good slot receiver. He's a good route runner. They picked up. I mean, this is what happens when things are rolling. They pick up. Austin Eckler gets hurt a couple weeks ago, so they elevate Jeremy McNichols from the practice squad. Jeremy McNichols was drafted in 2017 out of Boise State. He's a Long Beach, California kid. I know him, right? Nice kid. He's been in the league 9 years. Okay, 8 different teams. Before he gets elevated 2 weeks ago, he scored 1 touchdown in his career. He's got 3 in the last 2 weeks. Like, he's a legit player. Like, they fixed their offense line is good. Like, they're playing really well together. The quarterback is amazing. Because here's the key. Because I can't really say this about Jalen right now, but I can say this about Jaden. The kid is lightning fast, but never in a hurry.
Yes.
So there's a big difference.
Yes,
there's a big difference.
Great
He knows.
way to put it.
I see it all the time. Like, he can get out of harm's way. Last week, he's being chased by Zadarius Smith, and he eludes him. And from the backside, Terry McLaurin is just streaking. Like, maybe he could get in the lane. And he just, he launches his ball 60 yards in the air, and it falls right into McLaurin's, lap. It's an unbelievable throw, but he didn't panic. Like, he just uses his ability. He escapes when he's got to escape. He's very talented, and he's very accurate. Like, he's legit. He's elevated. It's what you want from your franchise quarterback. And I know it's 5 games, but he has elevated everybody in the building. They're not a great secondary. The Eagles should have great success. Last year, I remember the first time they played Cuz was at the Link. I think it was week 4. They had to go to overtime. They scored in the last game. Yeah. It was like 34-31 or something. Like, they scored a lot of points against the Eagles last year. They're more than capable of doing that this year.
Dallas, where are they at?
Well, I mean, they just won a game against Pittsburgh last week without Micah Parsons. First time they've ever played without Micah. He started 58 straight games for him. He's legitimately one of the top 5 players in this league. And they played without Tank Lawrence. They found a way to win. So now it's Pittsburgh, and they're all banged up, and, they're not very explosive offensively, but they found a way to win. Dak, honestly, it was the classic roller coaster Dak. Bad interception in the red zone, touchdown here. Touchdown to Rico Dowdle, bad interception. In the pocket, fumble, lose the fumble. Like, it was just a roller coaster. But, he got the ball to Jalen Tolbert, on a big play in the end zone, and you beat a good defense. They were very resilient. They've got the best kicker maybe in the history of the NFL. This guy is like literally money from 60 yards in. He doesn't miss a kick. Like, so if you get to the 40-yard line, think about it. Most teams are starting their offense at the 30.
Yeah.
If you go 30 yards and you get to the 40, you're probably going to get at least 3 points.
You're going to get points. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a weapon.
It's a weapon.
Their defense, though, what's even with Micah, their defense seems vulnerable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they played Detroit this week. Detroit's coming off a bye. I mean, look, Detroit's got a powerful rushing attack.
Yeah.
David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, they're legit. And, Dan Campbell wants to say, if you want to get back, like some teams take the bye differently. The Eagles take the week off. Some teams do that, whatever. But it's still, you got to get back to your rhythm. Like, to me, Dan Campbell's going to go, okay, our rhythm is getting the running game going. So I think they know Dallas has struggled against good running football teams for 2 straight years now. They're not good at run fits. They get out of, regardless. I think, Dallas is going to see a steady dose of these two backs. And let's just see how they hold up.
Yeah. So the Giants weird because, they go to Seattle and win. Now they're about to lose and they block the kick and run it back. But they beat Seattle last week in Seattle.
They didn't just beat them because they whipped them.
Yeah.
They played without their two best offensive players, Malik Neighbors and Motor Singletary. They start a rookie who was a receiver 2 years ago at Purdue, played a year at running back. He starts his first game in the NFL running back, goes for 129 yards.
Yeah.
And the kid's legit. He's legit. Now,
yeah.
Their offensive line is playing great. They're playing very good. Runyon in at left guard, Andrew Thomas. They picked up Jermaine Illuminar at right tackle. They're playing very good up front. And the quarterback has responded. Hit a couple of deep shots at Darius Slayton. Couldn't do that against Dallas the week before when they had a chance to beat them. Defensively, they crushed Seattle, just crushed them. Nobody could block Dexter Lawrence. Brian Burns. They played Deontay Banks probably played his best game against DK Metcalf. It was Isaiah Simmons, blocks the field goal. That was a beatdown. They won that game. But they've been playing increasingly better. They could have beaten Washington easily. They could have beaten Dallas easily. We'll see what they do against, a Cincinnati team that's unstoppable with Joe Burrow. We'll see what they look like. We'll see if they can match scores because that's what you have to do with Joe.
So how do you, if you're going to rank the four right now, we could play that little game and do that every couple of weeks. How would you rank the four in the East?
Well, they're all flawed, but you can't say that Washington isn't the best team. They've just won 4 in a row. Now you can argue who they played, whatever. It doesn't matter. They've won 4 in a row, and the quarterback he's not just the rookie of the year right now. He's a candidate for the player of the year, the way he's playing. It's that good. So nobody's completed 77% of the passes in the first 5 games of their career. Nobody. So, he's rare. And he's what C.J. Stroud did to Houston last year. But you probably have to say, Washington, just because they're on a 4-game streak. We'll see how it goes. And then I would say it's Dallas and Philly. If Dallas gets healthy, fully healthy, gets their whole – last week they lost their left tackle. They lost some guys up front during the game. They still won. But, it's a good win for them. I'd say Dallas and Philly are right there. Philly puts this offense together like I think they can this week. Philly might jump to number 1, but I don't believe in their defense at all right now.
Yeah. No, listen, it makes sense.
But honestly, because this is about draft and development, right? So tell me what you see from Nolan Smith. This is a first-round pick. Tell me what we know Jordan Davis. They drafted these guys at the top of the draft, and you're not getting production. We know what Bryce Huff has been. So you're investing heavily, as Howie does, in their defensive front, and it doesn't look like it's early. But, they need those players to come on.
Is it development or is it just miscalculations of talent?
It's a good question, cuz. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't want to give up on any player in a year or 2 years. I just don't.
No.
But the light goes on for different players at different times.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it's in different places. Sometimes it's not the system. So I never want to give up on a player. Never. If they're giving me effort, they're practicing hard and they're committed. If they've got the commitment and they play with effort, I definitely don't. Now, if the effort, the commitment isn't there, I don't give a shit. I don't give a flying. But if commitment and effort is there, I'm patient.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we were all, it felt like a lot of those picks, the rest of the league was passing, and we felt like, oh, man, they fell to us. We got lucky with these picks, but maybe we weren't so lucky with these picks falling to us.
It's interesting, though. If you look at these Georgia guys, or Alabama, but just look at Georgia. The talent, it's so deep that they don't really, even Trayvon Walker, Carter, Jordan, they never really played a lot, okay, because they had so much depth. And Nakobe, you look at them, and they were so dominant. Something in Alabama's like this at times too, that you don't really have to, players don't really have to develop that much. They don't have to really dominate because there's great players and great athletes at every position. And sometimes you can get lost in the measurables, in winning 15 games in a row, national championships, and playing big in national championships. And you go, well, what are they though? What is Nolan Smith? Is he an outside linebacker? Is he a pass rusher? Like, what is he? Because at Georgia, they just put these athletes on the field and just go just run and chase. And I don't know how much you have to really develop when you have
that's a great point. It's a great point. It's funny. I was having this conversation with somebody in the league about that. And, you take Jordan Davis, right? Like, he was a 2-down player. Like, he didn't need to be a 3-down player. In fact, like, they have all those guys. They need to get their pass rushers in, right? So, Kirby's looking to run through it, man. Like, I got 10 dudes on that front that I got to get snaps, and I got to get. So their snap counts are so low, to your point, and they have such great people, great kids behind them. They're all blue chippers that you're always rested, right? Like, that front was always rested, never taxed, and they were always put in the right position. So, Jordan Davis didn't have to rush the passer. It wasn't on the field on 3rd and 15.
Well, it's look, there's a couple guys, Jordan's size, Dexter Lawrence for sure, Vita Vea. There's a couple guys at that size that are on the field on pass rush downs because they're good. They've crushed the pocket. Right now nobody can block Chris Jones in this league, and he's like 330, but nobody can block him. I mean, New Orleans had no idea what to do to him. They tackled him. They didn't call anything, but there's a couple guys that really affect the game inside. And if Jordan, I believe Jordan can do it. I don't believe Jordan mentally right now, and this is not a personal attack, but I've talked to Dexter Lawrence about this. Like, he's a dominant player right now, but he wasn't his first 2 years. He was strictly a 2-down guy. He'd come off the field. He gave you not, but he had to mentally break through. I can play 80% of the snaps. I can take this center like he did last week in Seattle, Connor Williams, and I'm going to just literally dump him on my way to Geno Smith. And he did. And he just mentally said, nobody's blocking me one-on-one in this business. And so they create schemes where he's one-on-one. You could do that, 5-man rush, whatever. Like, I just think Jordan has to, it's strictly up to him right now. It's strictly up to him. And he's right there on the cusp of, is he going to be a bust or is he going to impact these games?
Yeah. No, you're spot on.
Before we get
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing, real quick, this is what, like, when he ran that 40-yard dash in Indy and he ran a 4.8, and everybody just went crazy at 360 pounds. I'm like, 2 plays in any series, he can't run no 4.8, no way, right? So, like, what point is that drill for anybody, honestly, but especially a 360-pound nose tackle? It's meaningless. Because once you get tired, or once you get into a game, or once you get nicked up, you're not running any 4.8.
No. Shallow tank.
Yeah, I just want to see, Baldy, it's fall season. I made my first pumpkin drink today I got from the coffee shop. Are you a pumpkin guy? Pumpkin coffee, lattes, beers, any of that?
No. I don't need any flavor in anything.
Pumpkin pie?
Vanilla, pumpkin. Like, I'll eat all the pumpkin pie you want to serve me, but I don't need it in a cup of coffee. And I don't need it like in a drink or anything like that. And I've got pumpkins on my front porch, and so, like, I believe in the pumpkin, the power of the pumpkin patch. I just don't want it in my coffee or any other, drink.
I agree. Listen, I love the pumpkin. I love what it looks. I got pumpkins on my porch, right? Yeah. I love the pumpkin, but not coffee. Not like they make this pumpkin pasta sauce. Like,
what?
Yeah, there's a pumpkin.
Get out of here.
Sage pumpkin. Like, it's an elevated sauce, for pasta. It was sage, brown butter, and pumpkin.
Like, if you're talking about pumpkin tomato sauce, like, that would get thrown out of the court of law in Italy in a second.
No. Like, it's supposed to be with brown butter. Yeah. That's why you're the greatest, cuz. Yeah. That's why you are the best. We love you. By the way, I want to thank to our diehards. All right. We appreciate you guys and all that you do. And we try to give you the best content and coverage of all of our local teams. Baldy, where are you off to this weekend?
I'm going right over the Walt Whitman Bridge on Sunday.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Looking forward to seeing Miles Garrett and some of the guys down there and Lane and some of the battles that are going to take place in this game should be a lot of fun.
Baldy does this thing, the Baldy walk, which is before the game. And he all the players and coaches, they all run up to him.
Like a receiving line almost. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Baldy, do you
What's
carve
that?
a pumpkin? Do you carve a pumpkin?
No, I don't. But there's other people that can do that for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not spending my time carving pumpkins.
In fact, you should get somebody to carve like an NFL pumpkin, and then you can put the candle in it at night.
Yeah. I mean, I did that when I was 10. I don't carve pumpkins anymore.
I agree. Wait, the Vestas. Right, you remember the bro? Remember Jamie, right? Jamie the bro,
Yeah, of course.
right?
Yeah.
So one day the bro says to me, it was a Friday like this. I said, "What do you got going on?" He goes, "Oh, we're Addie, his wife, and I, we're going to a pumpkin carving party." I said, "What?" He goes, yeah. We all get together, and we got pumpkins, and all the guys and girls, and we drink, and we carve pumpkins.
Yeah, I've gone to these. I see nothing wrong with this.
Listen, Greg, hold on. Like, I get invited to a lot of events, okay? Nobody invites me to a pumpkin carving party. They just know. Like, they just know. They know that that's one party we're not going to invite Baldy to. Like, I'm not sitting there and making small talk and carving.
Put on like some spooky music, some horror movies on TV, and carve some pumpkins.
Yeah, okay. All right. Listen. I mean, it's
He's like, hey, salute, enjoy. Teach their own. Get the hell out of here. We love you, buddy. We'll see you soon, pal.
Yeah, you got it, cuz. I'll talk to you next
brother.
week, man. Enjoy it.
Here he is, the great Baldy. You knew he wasn't a carver.
Nah, I knew he wasn't a carver. I thought maybe he'd do a pumpkin beer or a pumpkin cocktail.
Nah, I can't do a pumpkin beer. I don't like the taste of it. I love the look of it. I don't like the taste of it. The pumpkin sauce, it's not.
Well, it's a lot of cinnamon, nutmeggy.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the pumpkin raviolis?
There's the pumpkin ravioli.
When I
right?
was a server, when we had as a special, I would try to sell that up.
Yeah, what it is, JP, is like they do it in a brown butter.
Yeah.
Right?
Sage, yeah.
Right? That's the sauce. It's not a tomato sauce.
Yeah.
But it's, I'm not a fan. I don't like the pumpkin. I mean, I like to eat it or ingest it, drink it.
Are you a gourdsman in general?
No gourds.
Buttersquash?
No.
Pasta?
No.
Oh,
No.
come on.
No, I don't do that. That's a sin against the pasta. No good. All right. Now, a couple things. One, is BG around?
We got the Black Gritty.
All right. Well, from the cheap seats, I'm curious to see what his demeanor is.
Oh, yeah.
He's all
What's up, guys?
fired up, baby.
So first and foremost,
Black Gritty.
we don't do pumpkins around here, dog. We a sweet potato pie household. I'm not drinking no pumpkin drinks. My pumpkin patch days are over. My daughter's 17. She's ready for the Flyers tonight. All right. My daughter told me. She said Flyers are her favorite in the Sixers. That's her favorite. She likes the Phillies. She likes the Eagles, but the Flyers are her jam. She loves hockey. She actually got me. I'm Black Gritty because of my daughter. She pulled me back in when we were still horrible. And she's like, Dad, take me to some Flyers games. And we've been down there. So she said to me, she's like, you know how awesome it's going to be for me for like the next 10 to 15 years to have Michkov and these other young guys come in and just dominate for like a formative time of my life. And I'm like, you know what? You got that. Last year, if you're a Flyers fan, they gave you hope. This year, they're going to give you excitement. It starts tonight, 10 o'clock against the Canucks. If you're doing anything else, even if you don't watch hockey tonight, tune in. You're going to see the start of something. You're going to want to talk about this in 10, 15 years. Let your kids stay up late. Let them see history. You know what I mean? The Russian invasion starting tonight. You know what I mean? This young kid, I don't know what he's going to be, but he's been promised to be a lot. And we got him here early. So check in on the Flyers tonight. That's first and foremost. Secondly, the Phillies did us dirty because VG was with me. The Phillies hurt us so bad. And Eagles, y'all ain't been helping nobody. Y'all got the Browns, okay? I don't ask for favors but Deshaun can just start. I don't want to see Jameis Winston. Chubb, if you could take a week off and start next week, I mean, maybe he's still a little bit dinged up. Because if the Eagles don't come out here and score 14 points in the first quarter and win by 21, we are still going to burn the city down. This better be the cleanest game Jalen Hurts ever had. Fumble drills all week, bro. I don't want to see one. Interceptions. Throw it to your guys because they healthy and they back, bro. Do your job. Nick, shut up. Stay out the way. Take the points, Nick, okay? And Vic Fangio, you better start putting belts to backsides over there because the defense needs to wake up. Now, they're the Browns. If you got a problem with the Browns, we got a problem with you. And then after that, you better get to work. I'm so excited for football. I'm so excited for the Flyers, but I'm hurting because the Phillies got. I'm ready to burn something. So the Eagles,
Don't burn it. Listen,
take care of business.
Don't burn it.
Go burn! I'm hurting because it's not my normal time. Because I'm hurting. I need a hug. I should have been sitting there with y'all. And JP, where's my drink at? Y'all got this bar here making pumpkin drinks. See what happens when JP got other things to do? We get stuff with pumpkin drinks. pumpkin drinks. BG, that's a violation. You missed the violation. You out here carving pumpkins, eating fruit smoothie lattes with pumpkin sauce on them. Yeah. Violation, Greg.
No.
Let me see that cup.
Look at that
this
thing.
cup. Look at that thing.
Look at how foo-foo that is. It's embarrassing. VG.
I'm not feeling good about myself, that's for
It
sure.
even has like the nutmeg at the top.
Baldy was judging you, bro. Baldy was giving you that grown man look.
Baldy judges us every time he's on.
He was judging you, not us.
I don't feel good.
Me and Cuz was over here. He was judging you, brother. So I love you guys. Everybody have a great night. Check out the Flyers tonight. 10 o'clock. Let's see something.
Flyers, Canucks. Good stuff, BG. Black gritty.
I might have to carve a black gritty pumpkin.
You got skills like that?
I carve some pumpkins.
Really?
Yeah.
I did it for the kids.
Yeah?
Yeah, I made it. My best one was the Jurassic Park symbol.
Yeah.
I did that.
All right.
For Anthony.
Did you get a stencil for it?
Yeah, I drew it. I could actually sketch, so I drew it on the pumpkin and carved around it.
Nice.
But that was for the kids. I'll do anything for the boys. That's it.
I'll slip Massimo 20 to get you a pumpkin latte.
No, man. You know what I drink every day. I can't. It's black. All right. It's that time on a Friday, as now we have a void. We have an October void. What to watch? It's Halloween month.
Love it. My favorite month.
Our man, TV Todd. You can't handle the truth.
It's time for TV Todd.
There he is. He's fired up. Look at it. Look at that jersey.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got?
Let's go, baby.
Who is it?
Oh, today is Brian Prop.
Oh,
you got
the prop, the guffaw.
Got the whole autograph and everything.
That's a good-looking jersey.
Oh,
you look good with that
It's
jersey,
signed.
too.
Well, of course it's signed. Proper. So I played for 3 years in the Flyers alumni fantasy camp, and I had the best coaches. I had Prop, I had the Fridge, I had Danny Briere, I had Moose Dupont, my favorite player growing up.
That's awesome. You're a great Flyers man. In fact,
I'm ready.
Tell us, if this is you're good to talk. Before we get into all your specialty, I want to just throw this at you. So one of the things that we were talking about tomorrow, my theme of my show, the open of my show, was about the hamster wheel of hell. And that is the 4-for-4 cycle. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's who we are. And look, we're wounded and, it's tough. Red October's dead October. But you now turn back to the Eagles. And now you have the newness of the Flyers and Michkov. And the Sixers' actually first preseason game will take place tonight. So it's a good thing to kind of just go on and on because that's kind of who we are. We use sports to get through the mundanity of life. And I love the way we approach it, filled with emotion and filled with hope.
I completely agree. And I listened to first of all, I agree what you always said, Cuz, in that it's about the journey, right? It's not always about the payoff because the payoffs are so rare. but it's about the journey, enjoying it. So I listened to you guys talk about, hope versus expectation. And I was sitting there thinking, I woke up this morning and I said, well, how nice is it to have a Flyer season, going into a Flyer season where I could just relax and enjoy and watch the games. But you know what? Here's the thing. I think VG is right. You start off with hope, right? But then the expectations creep in and they change depending on where the season goes. So it's like your expectations are always changing, but you start off with pure hope.
All right. Pure hope.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't need to protect. He's got his heart in a padlock.
I've been hurt too much. My heart looks like Jerry Sheaver's face mask. Gary Sheaver's face mask. That's what my heart looks like.
It's amazing. No, listen, for the Flyers fans out there, we know what we have. We know we have a young team. We know we have a plan. Let's just enjoy it. Let's enjoy it starting tonight. Let's not start thinking about the cup today. That's the problem with the Phillies. We started to think about the pennant on day one.
And that saps all the joy out of it. It just does. And like I make this akin to, like, I love watching players and watching players grow. You got the Flyer mug, the orange Flyer mug. That's awesome.
Everyone's gonna need this tonight, man, with a puck drop at 10 p.m.
That's right. That's right. Being able to watch Michkov and the Jet, right, and watching Luchenko, like, it's going to be something that it's like, it'll be like watching Embiid grow, or even when Simmons was actually good. Like, you get a guy, go back to Lindros, our era, watching 88. Like, there was an excitement that surrounded him just to watch him night in, night out, and watch him grow. He's a teenager.
It's amazing. So not only do we have the excitement of him, but we got the bonus excitement of Jet, right? None of us expected Jet to be joining the team this season. So we have a lot of fun things to watch. Plus, I think the other cool storyline that we're going to all want to pay attention to is, look at the guy, like the quote unquote veterans right now on this team. You're talking about TK, Farabee, Scott Lawton, Owen Tippett. These are the guys we're looking at as the vets that are going to lead these rookies. I mean, this is really an interesting storyline too.
Spot on. All right, buddy. We drop the puck and we go to Vampires.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm with VG. This is my favorite time of the year for content because I love all the horror stuff. So on Vampires, you asked me about Vampires, and I have a whole bunch of movies and TV shows that I absolutely love. And probably some of them are not the top pick for your audience, but they should check them out. I think the original From Dusk Till Dawn is one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. It's Quentin Tarantino, right?
Yep.
He and Robert Rodriguez wrote it, and Rodriguez directed it. So if you love early Tarantino stuff, George Clooney's in it. Great film, From Dusk Till Dawn. One of my favorites.
Ooh, I like that movie.
Yeah, VG, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, it's in my top 5. I wrote down my top 5 vampires. We'll see. Yeah, it's in there. There's a little bit of comedy mixed in with it. Yeah.
All right, I love it. I did these in no particular order. I happen to really like the John Carpenter Vampires, which is kind of a little schlocky at times, but I think it's a really fun movie. It's a little bit. Listen, we get James Woods in a classic role, so I really love that one. How do you feel about that one, VG?
Honorable mention for me, but I'm a fan of it. Yes.
Okay. All right. We're going to rock on here.
Vampires. That's right. Yeah.
Yep. What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, not the TV show. It's a mockumentary about a bunch of vampires living in Staten Island. And I happen to love the comedy of Jermaine Clement, who's in it from Flight of the Conchords. So it's a little bit of because that's more of like a little bit of an American Werewolf in London, where you get a little comedy horror. Honorable mention in that category, too, for me, is the original Fright Night. The original Fright Night from 1985 with Chris Sarandon.
Yeah.
I know it was remade, but I love that, too, if you're into the comedy horror stuff.
That's in my top 5, Fright Night. Love it. The original one.
Okay. All right, that's awesome. Then we get some that a lot of people, are very familiar with. You got Interview with the Vampire, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. Not necessarily my favorite, but a good, a decent film.
I read the Anne Rice books, and I loved the books. I did. I thought Anne Rice, that whole Lestat, I loved it.
Yeah, books are great.
The movie was too, exactly what you said. Pitt, Cruise. It was, let me do a Hollywood kind of version of it.
It was a huge commercial success, and oftentimes when you have that, what you've pandered to a little bit. So it was a big film in the day.
It felt like a romance novel, vampire film.
It did.
I don't know. I like the book. I like the book more than
the movie.
The movie
felt like a romance novel version of a vampire film.
Yeah, because I didn't get that off the book.
Yeah.
How about Let the Right One In or 30 Days of Night? Is that on your list, VG?
I've seen them. It didn't make my list, but I'm okay with them. Yeah.
How good is that 30 Days of Night?
I thought it was nice.
All right.
It was nice. It's not one
because I haven't seen either.
You haven't seen a lot.
Tell me if I should say.
I like Let the Right One In. I probably lean that between the two.
Let the Right One In is an amazing. Like when you look at that film, it's a Swedish film. When you look at it from a filmmaking standpoint, character development very much feels like an indie film. Because I think you would absolutely love it.
Let
the Right One In, and it was remade. It was remade here, and the remake didn't hold up. The original Swedish film. It's about a kid who moves into this town and befriends his next door neighbor, a 12-year-old girl, and turns out she's a vampire. But it's really good character development. A couple more here, a couple more for you, and then we can hear VG's top 5. And then we got to turn to TV for vampires. But Lost Boys.
I was hoping you'd bring that up. That's one of my favorites. That's a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorites.
Great music throughout.
The people are strange.
Yeah.
The Doors. I love that movie. If it's on, that's a click and stick for me.
Yeah, and I think
click
and stick. I like that. Click and stick. I think that's one that they're remaking it or rebooting it, but it's not going to hold up, obviously. It was a really good one. Now here's one. I'm going to end you with one that I throw out all the time because you may remember I've mentioned this on your previous shows during Halloween. Not many people know about this film. It is one of my favorite vampire films of all time. It stars Nicolas Cage, and it's called Vampire's Kiss. And it's this crazy indie cult film about a literary agent who thinks he is becoming a vampire. And it's sort of one of these, is he really or is it mental illness? I mean, it's kind of Joker-like in some ways. But Vampire's Kiss is the best. I love it.
He's excited about Vampire's Kiss. Yeah. I'm a big Cage fan, so I like this selection.
What do you got, VG, in the movies category?
Number one for me is... It's interesting because it's directed by Catherine Bigelow, who won the Academy Award for Hurt Locker. Near Dark, like a Western vampire one that for me was just cool, a little brutal. I don't know. It hit all the right buttons for me, Near Dark. I got Fright Night, Lost Boys. I think if you're an herbalist, I think everyone should see it, but if you're an herbalist, especially... The OG Nosferatu is still creepy and cool, even though it's a silent movie. I think the shadows and that figure is great.
Well, the one, what was the one was awesome. I loved it. It was like the making of Nosferatu. It was.
Oh yeah.
Which was
I've never seen it.
Oh my God! What's it called? Is the Gary Oldman?
No, I think it. No, was it?
Gary Oldman's in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Who was it?
Yeah, it's was it William Dafoe?
William Dafoe. Yes.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable.
By the way, that movie is so good. Well, I can't remember the title of it either. But also he's in the new Nosferatu is coming out that actually looks pretty good. He's in it as well.
Wow. Now is that a film that's coming out? It's that one?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. It looks good. I saw the trailer.
Where are you at on The Hunger?
Good wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, middle of the road. Always wanted to like it more.
Yep, agree with that.
Didn't they redo the Salem's Lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on Max right now. It's a pretty decent film, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
Shadow of the
Shadow
Vampire.
of the Vampire. Yep, that was it.
All right.
That's a good movie. That's a
Great
really good
movie.
movie.
That put that like VG, like if you like Ed Wood, if you
Yeah.
like that kind of, then you'll love Shadow of the Vampire.
Okay.
I always loved the character, like the literary character of Count Dracula.
Yeah.
Was an awesome character, right? From the castle to the whole thing, like that whole. That was a great one. What was the one? Oh my God, where it was like the story. There was like a war going on, and it was like in the 1800s. What goes back back in time? It was like a period piece, and I just remember the stakes through the outside the castle.
Huh. I don't remember.
I forget the name of that movie. It was one of those I probably watched late at night.
If you're a literary nerd, I mean, it's worth a trip to Rosenbach Museum in Philly on 20th and Delancey. They have Bram Stoker's notes from when he was working on Dracula. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I don't think we talked about that, but that was Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Is Tom Waits in that one too, I think?
Yeah.
He might be Renfeld.
Yeah.
Tom Waits. Yeah. And the Nick Cage Renfeld is really good. I thought it was campy and hysterical and decent for the season.
That's a good one. What do you think in TV, VG? Because I don't know if
I've watched much TV vampire stuff.
So everybody goes right to True Blood, right? True Blood was a really amazing series. In fact, it's being rebooted, but a great series. But there's one for me that stands out. I recommend it to everybody. I still stand by it. It's incredible. I think it's on Hulu right now. It was called The Strain.
Okay,
and
never
it
heard
was
of it.
Guillermo del Toro
Wow,
directed it.
Yeah, he's great.
And that's why it's so good, because it starts off with a plane lands at, I don't know, LaGuardia or something like that. And everybody on the plane is dead. And the show starts from there. But the vampire characters in it are amazing. It's a total Del Toro type show. So it's called The Strain. It ran maybe 3 or 4 seasons on FX. And it's fantastic.
That sounds awesome.
Black Gritty agrees. He says The Strain's great.
Yeah, I like that. I'm
BG,
in.
and listen, BG watches almost as much. He probably watches more content than me, so I trust that dude.
So those are your two. Any other ones?
The last one I'll mention is a series on Netflix that a lot of people did not see. I really loved it. It's set in Pennsylvania, in Western Pennsylvania. It's called Hemlock Grove. And it stars Bill Skarsgård in it as one of the kind of vampire-like creatures. It's really good. Loved it.
That's cool. That's awesome. I love it. We're going to dive deep into it, man. Love it.
Todd, where do you stand on pumpkins? Do you carve pumpkins? Do you do pumpkin lattes?
Listen, I will enjoy a good pumpkin scone. Love a pumpkin scone or a pumpkin muffin. I'm not
pumpkin
carving.
muffin.
Scone.
A pumpkin
He's
muffin.
a sconesman.
I'm a sconesman, definitely.
Wow.
But I'm not carving pumpkins. Come on.
Can you throw? Did you see that thing I put on Slack? I got a picture of a pumpkin I carved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see it.
It's TV related, so I was like,
Let's see it.
Maybe Todd will appreciate it. I think I did use a stencil for it. I'm disappointed. He's a breakfast pastry guy, kind of. The scones, the
that's
muffins.
a scone.
Yeah.
The scone needs to be like that tough texture. Wow.
There you go. My
Wow.
roller white.
Dude, that's great.
Did you freehand that? Was that a freehand?
No,
or a
I
stencil?
drew. I mean, there was like a stencil thing to copy, so I drew it on there and then cut it out.
Dude,
That's
that's
impressive.
awesome.
Yeah, come on.
That's actually great.
That's what pumpkin carving looks like with adults.
Wow, that's really good.
That's
My
amazing.
Jurassic Park was pretty good.
Yeah, you got to bring a picture
But
before the season
I did
ends.
it. I don't know. If I have it or not. I just did it freehand though. Well, that's awesome. That was really good.
That's really good.
I'm with you, buddy. I like to look at them. I love the pumpkin that they exist. I'm a big fan of like October, November. Like they're 2 good months.
The Flyers logo looks like it's got a pumpkin in the middle of it.
Yeah. It's good color. Orange, good color.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I like it. All right, brother. Listen, as always, you're the man, and let's root on Michkov.
Yep, let's go Flyers.
Let's go Flyers.
Let's go Flyers. Da, 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 da. There it is. TV Todd. All right, buddy. That's going to do it for us.
Real quick, two things for me here. Real quick.
Our back in the day Rite Aid moment.
Well, first off, I want to let people know, if they're excited about the Flyers tonight, our PHLY Flyers team is doing a watch along.
Nice.
So in between of the pregame and the postgame, they'll be having a watch along with Bill Matz, Kelly Hinkle. Charlie might be joining at halftime. We'll see, but that'll be watch along. Watch along is always fun.
Nice.
Oh, that's
watch
great.
alongs are great.
So Charlie's in Vancouver. He'll come on between periods.
He may.
Oh, that's
definitely
awesome.
for the pre and post game, he definitely will be coming on.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, what's our Rite Aid back in the moment?
All right. So
We always like to go back in the day. So our Rite Aid back in the day moment is.
So obviously, look, we're all pretty excited for the Flyers here today, right? So I figured today would be a perfect time to look back in a special moment in Flyers history from when I was a young one.
Okay.
So I have here, let me show you guys in just a second.
Is it an 88?
I love being
theme?
fired up.
Yeah, I do too.
Dude. So here is
Is
2007.
in on it. Benjamin hammered off the play by Richards, but there to pick up the puck, the Canucks, and they'll get it back out to the point for a shot that's deflected and knocked aside by Biron. Owen is on it again. By Marcus Naslund, the Flyers back to full strength, but a cross-ice pass intercepted. Brendan Morrison has it. Morrison's pass to Naslund, cutting on in, one-handed shot, save made. Biron, Todd wants a penalty, they won't get it. Braden Coburn. Nice tip pass there from Hartnell to Carter. Carter turns with it. Left cutter all the way across, looking for Kukanen, deflects away. Back to Randy Jones. Wrist shot, save on the rebound, they score! Jeff Carter sweeping in the rebound from in front. He has his second of the year. The Flyers take the lead, 1-0.
That's another key. He beats his man to the net. Have a wide open net, actually, to give the Flyers a 1-0 lead.
That is so important. Flyers, we talked about trying to find some of that scoring balance. Here's a rebound, they score! Jay Umberger doesn't take long to make his presence felt as he gets his first to the end. And just like that, the Flyers lead 2-0. Goals separated.
That's a great one, JP.
So
our back in the day moment.
You were talking earlier about relevancy, and like that's why I wanted to bring that up, because growing up, like the Flyers were over the Sixers as far as relevancy in the city. And so, like, everyone was, around this time, everyone was giddy about the Flyers. I feel like the Sixers were kind of in the back burner. So I kind of want to get back to the Flyers being relevant again.
No, relevance is key.
Relevance is coming.
You know, it really is. It's a team that you can now grow and watch and just, enjoy it. I think relevance is here just because of Michkov and the Jet.
And Jonesy. And Jonesy we trust.
Yep. No, without a doubt. Great stuff, JP. Julia, great work, guys, behind the scenes. That's going to do it for us. Have a great day, everybody. Great weekend. All right? It's the reset button. The hamster wheel continues. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
We love you.